And we're live! Welcome back, everyone, to Dr. Conomist. I'm here to give you the best advice and to solve all of your problems and to send you off to the ranch for therapy. Are you guys excited? We're off to the decoration farm. Particularly, there's nothing too exciting going on at the moment for Monster Hunter, except for in 2 days we're getting the festival. Well, guess what? That's in 2 days. So I don't really have anything to do. That's the truth. I could go back to PC and I could farm in the Guiding Lands and feel like committing not alive. Or I could work on the Sword and Shield and the Charge Blade on my Xbox account. Those are the two things that are on my list of things to do. Get better at Charge Blade, get better at Sword and Shield. And then I'm also going to be going crazy when the festival comes out. So that's the plan, everyone. Let's get to it. You can see the session ID in the upper right-hand corner. It's gone now. Inevitably, somebody will be like, what's the session ID? It'll be like an hour in. They'll be like, what's the session ID? Oh my god. Oops, no, I don't want to go to the Xbox store. What the hell? What's the set? Send them to the ranch. Anyone who asks that question is going straight to the ranch. We have a little attack up large. So one of the things we were doing was we were trying to get better at Perfect Rush on the Sword and Shield because I never really took a lot of time to practice it, and now we were getting better at it. That's one of the things we need to figure out so that I have at least some knowledge of how to use the Sword and Shield. Okay, and we're putting up a tempered Rajang hunt right now. I had my music playing. Man, I wish I could just play the music in the live stream, but the problem is, there's two problems. Okay, so if I played my music in the live stream, somebody's not going to like that music. That's just how music works. Everyone has their own tastes, right? So that's the first problem. The second problem, of course, would be the live stream would be immediately demonetized. So, man, what we should do, we should have a live stream where maybe you guys do like a little tip bucket and have me be music DJ, and I'll play music for you guys, and you guys will just tip me to replace the $15 I make on a live stream from ad revenue. Hey, what's the session ID? It says Phenomenon. Oh my god. How do we get into the party? What's the session ID? Do you have the session ID? How's it going, Finn? Imagine playing Iceborne since Safi. Imagine fighting Safi Poopy 5 million times. So what are we running again? So we have Crit Eye, Agitator, Handicraft, Health Boost, Crit Boost, Weakness Exploit, Divine Blessing, Blast Attack, Latent Power. We don't have Guard Up. That's an interesting thing. Maybe we should have Guard Up. Can we afford it? We can give up a level of Challenger and take Guard Up. It seems like a silly thing, but it's like some moves are really harder than usual to dodge, and just being able to guard with this shield is nice. So we will bring a guard up with us in case we want to do that. Let's go ahead. I already ate. What are we fighting? Tempered Rajang. That's what we're fighting. Tempered Rajang. Let me go ahead and turn up my TV volume. Let me turn up my TV volume. Wait, I can't hear any volume. Oh, there it goes. I can hear the TV volume now. I'm scared. That's going to be really loud. Let's turn that a bit. Let's turn that down a bit. All right, we're off. My high rank is 500. You happy? I'm so happy, Mr. Clean. Mr. Clean, I'm so happy. Oh my god. When I click on my file explorer, I'm looking at my picture files that I have saved from recent videos and thumbnails, and I have all these dicks in my temporary folder for temporary images because of those Greek statues from that video I made the other day where I was complaining about the Iceborne PC review. Yeah, so there's all these statue dicks, and they're just like right here. I should just delete them all. I'm so tired of them popping up. God, they keep showing up. I got to go in and just delete it all. I need to clean out my pictures. So let's go over to music. I'm going to click on background music, and let's see. We should listen to something. Let's listen to... I'm going to listen to... Well, I don't want to play the same music over and over for you guys, but how about... We'll play this one for now. Does it work even? My speakers have been really wonky. I need to, like, install new drivers or something like that. Whoa, that's up all the way. Whoa, that's really loud. Oh, also, we need to get Streamlabs open, don't we? And close this off. Let's get Streamlabs. Look at me, I'm starting my streams. I'm not even ready for them. I'm terrible. Okay, I think we're ready. Wait, this isn't the background. This is the actual song. Okay, here we go. We want the background one. What's this about dongs now? I have a bunch of naked statues. You know, like Greek statues, they had the guys ding dong out, and because that's what they were all about back then. And I was making a case that art actually included an awful lot of sexuality for the Greeks, right? I was making an argument for that in one of my videos. And so now I have a temporary file full of images where I make my thumbnails from. And every time I go to it, there's like some statue, some Greek statue with this ding dong out. And it's kind of like, I gotta get rid of that because I keep having to look at it and it's making me sick. Gotta get the full Dr. Phil experience and listen to the Catch Me Outside Girl song. Whoa! Alright, so let's get better at the sword and shield. Back hop. I really do like that they made this weapon. It's kind of like it's like a light weapon, and yet it's capable. Hold on. It's a light weapon, and yet it's capable of getting a fast softening on a monster part because of that buff. Speaking of buffs, I hope they buff the lance. Man, I really complained about it yesterday, but he's so bad. I don't feel like I'm not justified in complaining. Name of the song? The song is called Big Pee Pee Poo Poo. Whoa. Whoa. Wow. He knocked me out of the air. So I'm noticing it actually takes quite a bit of melee damage before you can mount this guy. Some weapons mount very quickly. There we go. Okay, that's not bad timing on the mount anyways. Damn, he's running halfway across the field. Who's the guy in the session with his mic on? What? Alright, here we go. Beat him up, guys! He's down. Woo! Well, I haven't seen him use that move very much. It's interesting. Boing! Alright, his little booty softened. He's 12. Obviously, if he's listening to a song called Big Pee Pee Poo Poo. Valkyrie, no! Yeah, it's gonna cause me tremors. This weapon has such short range if you're not using one of its specialty moves. Like, if you're just standing and slashing, it's got, like, 0 range. What is he doing? No! I don't want to die! Oh my god. Man, he keeps moving. Oops. I think I deflected off of his arms, unfortunately. What if that means the falling bash is better? Ah, I still haven't had the chance to fight Ray Zhang. Key to beating Monster Hunter World, Doge. Should I make a dodge guide? Let's make a dodge guide. Where's my Pokemans? That's right, E-Tech. Seventh Night said I completely missed the Safi Siege because I was stuck getting my... What? My junk inverted by Namio. All armor is visible if you can see. What? Ah! Get me away from him! He's a madman! Oh, that's gonna hurt. I want to throw him into the wall. What just happened? Oh, no! No! Oh, I'm dead. I'm dead meat, guys. Oh, I'm fine. Hey, Gameconomist, I'm a longsword user and I'm ready to try a new weapon. Any recommendations? Not the lance. Yeah, I would use a new ranged weapon. Why don't you pick up the sticky ammo light bowgun? That's pretty cool. God damn, I was still under him, huh? Alright, so I've definitely figured Perfect Rush out a bit more. Boing. Does the timing of Perfect Rush affect its damage output? Like, if you get the timing just right, does it do even more damage? Get out of here with your wars. Alright, let's try some different music, because this music's on repeat. I like this song a lot. Light bowgun, man. Go learn how sticky ammo works. It's very different from longsword. It's going to be explosive damage. It's going to cause blunt damage. You can shoot from any range. You have to do, like, item bar management, item management, crafting. So there's a lot to learn there. And it will definitely widen your understanding of the game quite a lot. Not to mention, it's really strong. Okay. I can't even get close to him. Greysword is like uber slow. Greysword is great as the name implies. That's right. It's in the name, guys. Mr. Clean! I think we have multiple lives. I'm feeling like I'm not getting that many openings against Ray Zhang. Pitfall trap. Oh, so you don't get Mind's Eye during the Perfect Rush. I wasn't sure what was about to happen, so I didn't bother attacking. Yo, bring back Build Police. Build Police. What do you guys think? You want the Build Police role in the Discord? Basically a bully role. His body's so small, I feel like I don't really get a chance to use the falling bash too much. Tip, when you hit a monster, you will do damage most of the time. Oh, man, I was getting some frame loss. Ah. Okay, so you get interrupted with this, huh? Oh, he's dead. Alright. You know what, we'll return to Gathering Help, that's fine. Bowguns are good when fighting a tough monster for the first time. Bowguns are always good, shut up. There's no condition to when bowguns are good. What, you got spread ammo on the heavy bowgun, and the light bowguns have sticky ammo and the ability to strafe really fast? Crazy. Crazy! What do you think of that, Kitty? Kitty, I think that's crazy. Death says, I wasn't talking about the roll, I was talking about the stream. Oh, we have a stream called Build Police? I don't even remember. Is that Charge Blade or SBS? It is SBS, to answer your question. So, let's go over to the Discord. Ooh, hold on there. I think I saw... Oh, was that Challenger Protection? Oh, I think it was Challenger Protection. Darn, I was hoping we would get another one of those good Challengers. And let's see, let's go to server settings, we go to roles, we could create Build Police. I was thinking about adding another role to the server, but I don't know what the role should be. Build Police is pretty fun. What are the inputs for Wyvern Blast Counter on PlayStation 4? Wyvern Blast Counter is really simple. You would just stop shooting and you'll push, is it X? I'm trying to remember what's there. O? It's the B button on the Xbox controller. Or the further most right button. Make the worst build ever possible, says Nigel. Link0 says hello. Holy, he's actually doing it. LMAO, Big Chief. No, I haven't done it. I'm just, I'm open-minded to adding a fun role to the server. Or the other day, I talked to the administrators about a special role that could be like a role they hand out. For administrators to admins in the server to do something, right? So a role for them to give out specifically. Alright, so today's, again, is just going to be about me practicing with Sword and Shield and me practicing with the Charge Blade. Let's swap over to the Charge Blade now. Tell you what, in the meantime, we'll drop this here. Where's Charge Blade? And these builds weren't perfect, is what I remember. I could probably tweak them, but that's okay. We'll play with this anyways. That's full. That one's a pretty good one. That's probably the one he was talking about. I wouldn't join this one. It has 3 monsters in it. This one's not bad. Let's join this one. We got a little Joker here. How's it going, little Joker? Let's pick some new music. Undertale. Maybe I'm a little Undertaled out. I need to do some research on some new music. Alright guys, it's a TheGameconomist stream. This is where you guys tell me about your troubles and then I solve them for you. Whew. Get a nice stretch going first, though. Oh, my sleep schedule is atrocious. You guys would probably cringe if you heard how I went to sleep. I just go to sleep really poorly. It's time to start our episode of Dr. Conomist. This is where you guys tell me about what ails you. Is that the right term? Ail? Tell me about your ailments. What ails you? Oh yeah, that is right. The verb ail means to be sick or unwell. Okay, yeah, I said that right. Tell me what ails you, and I will solve your problems with my deep, woke psychology skills. After all, I did go to college, and I did take 1 or 2 classes in psychology, so I know everything, literally everything. Sato says, I love your voice, you should do audiobooks. Hey, maybe I will one day. You know what I think would be really fun is if we did Aesop's Fables. Aesop's Fables was always a really big favorite of mine. Switch says, listen to the Beatles. Yeah, and become instantly demonetized. I tell you what, if you, Switch, you donate $20 and we'll listen to anything you want. Der Mensch ist böser. Hold on, I missed it. It says, wait, what is this, an impact charge blade? That's right. Dest says, I just posted the quest. Too late, Dest, I already started. T34 box. Choink Boink says, I have erectile dysfunction. How many men actually have erectile dysfunction? I'm going to look it up. How common is erectile dysfunction? Oh, it's for different ages. 20s, 30s, 40s, and 60s. Let's go to 20s. A study of over 400 men, that's not that many men, showed that nearly 1 in 4 new cases of ED occurs in men under the age of 40. Whoa, really? What's worse, half of the young men in the study showed signs of severe erectile dysfunction? Whoa. The study concluded the cause of erectile dysfunction in young men was lifestyle habits like smoking and drug use. Whoa. Stop smoking, guys. Stop smoking and drinking. Is it normal to have erectile dysfunction in your 20s? The answer is no, but erectile dysfunction is becoming more common in young guys. How long do normal erections last? 5.4 minutes? Ugh, that's so short. Age, health, sexual activity, what kind of erection you get, blah, blah, blah. Huh. Crazy. 1 in 4? Jesus, that's too many people. Alright, well, I'm going to jump back because we got to get back to playing. I put in 140 hours since Iceborne dropped for PC, pure dual blades all the time, changed to heavy bowgun for guiding lance. Nice. So what are we fighting again? Is it an ogre? Let's have our demon drug. Wait, we're not going to have our demon drug. This is the Xbox, so we actually don't have an infinite number of those. I've been clean off of drugs and alcohol for almost 2 years. Good job, man. Now to just do that for the rest of your life. I guess we have that little blue pill, don't we, for men who are struggling with erectile dysfunction. So at least there's that to look forward to. You have 20 minutes, by the way. What is he talking about? Alright, let's go ahead and heal. How do you know if I have a big peepee if I never used it? I don't know. I didn't say you had a big peepee. You probably have a tiny peepee. You probably have a micro peepee, for all I know. And that was a trick question to get us all to think you don't have a micro peepee. Oh, he's doing his whole work. Alright. So I'm getting really the gist of all the button, how to use Savage Axe more efficiently with the buttons correctly, right? The question I probably have now is exactly what is the most efficient combo? Probably what I need to do is watch some speedrunners. I actually do not like to use the clutch claw with this weapon. It really has a very slow clutch claw, doesn't it? Nice. So, can I get that build Popo roll? The build police roll. I don't know. I don't know. I don't want it to be a source of, like, bullying in the Discord necessarily. Even though I don't necessarily oppose bullying either. It's just that if it doesn't lead to, like, net enjoyment. What can I say? I'm a bully. Should be me, Diva and Fan, easy. The most efficient combo is YB, Y, B, YB, and so on. Yeah, just trading between Y and B, but yeah, I'll do some of my own research on it. The most efficient combo is Bow, says Mary. How's it going, Mary? Now play Bow, you frick. You freaking frick. Alright, so this build definitely has an issue with sharpness. Next song. Let's play the next one. Mary, it's me, Dr. Economist. I'm here to talk to you about your life problems and solve them for you. And if you have like bad children who aren't doing what they're supposed to do, I send them to the decoration farm. Sir Anonymous says, what I was told with the charge blade was to press Y once, then B for the 2 swings for 1 file attack. Everyone seems to have a different theory. Oh, I like this song a lot, actually. Woo! I'm dead. We were just playing real aggressively, and you know, he was right there ready to use his best moves on me in the middle of the attack. Wallamanga says, you are also bald. I am actually not bald at all. My dad and my grandpa, even my grandpa at the age of 70 has a full head of hair, and my dad has a full set of hair, and I have a full set of hair, and I have a very great erection. My erection lasts so long, like 20 minutes at least. My index fingers are huge. It's amazing. It's just a game theory, but no, I'm not bald. I have a lot of hair. I'll send you a picture of my hair. Would that make you feel good, Wallamanga? It's not as good as a face reveal, but it's a hair reveal. Oh my god. Turf War? Nice. These little dudes about to get chopped up. I arrived on the stream and dude talks about is Pepe? What? No, stop! Anjanath, go away! He's so annoying, man. Nice. Great job on that. Oh, come on, dude! Get out of here, Anjanath! Nobody likes you, Anjanath. Nice job, nice job, nice job, everyone. The most efficient combo is in the guide, but the short version is upswing, elemental discharge 2, upswing, downswing, and then aid. This should take up the duration of the whole knockdown. Upswing. I'll probably just need to watch a video of it. You will understand. PP reveal. Nah, I'm not gonna get in trouble like what's his name? Who's the guy who put his PP all over the internet or it got leaked? Jared, something like that. Yeah, I'm not gonna be another Jared. No, thank you. I mean, I'm proud of my PP. It's just Venom Jewel. Wow, that's all I ever wanted was the Venom Jewel. I'm proud of my PP. I just don't want it all over the internet. Associated with my face, all my friends and my family are like, oh look, there's his pee-pee. That must be embarrassing. I mean, maybe if I had like a 12-inch pee-pee, then I'd do it. I'd be like, yeah, I'm huge. I'd be like, I'm hung like a horse, and I want you all to know. Pro Jared, thank you, Spunyard. Let's see, what are we going to play next? Best combos for Hammer are head pats. That's right. Sir Anonymous says, don't cheat on your wife then. It's not cheating if she's there too, right? Jonathan Garcia says, Dr. Conomist, my PP has been hard for 50 hours. Is this fine? Negative. Get yourself to a hospital immediately. Let's hear your Dr. Phil problems, guys. Come on, let's hear. You guys tell me what you're struggling with in life, and I'll be Dr. Economist for you. This is free counseling. You don't even have to pay for it. This is the best form of counseling. An unlicensed psychological professional like myself giving you free counseling over a live stream is perfect. Why would you pay for counseling when you could have it for free, man? I can already tell you what I'm going to diagnose for you. If you tell me you have depression, I'm going to tell you have a cookie. If you tell me you have anxiety, I'm going to tell you to have a cookie. So let's see. Basically, I'm telling you to eat your feelings. We've got Lunastra. Let's do a Lunastra run. Why not? Mr. MKT says, why does work suck? It's actually a very interesting question because the reason it sucks is it makes us uncomfortable, which is exactly why people pay for you to go be uncomfortable for them. Does that make sense? So why would somebody pay you to lay around on the beach? They want to do that. So in other words, there's not enough supply of people doing things that is uncomfortable. So this is a great economic example. There's a demand for tacos, but making the tacos is not the fun part. Eating the tacos is the fun part. So you supply the labor to make the taco, and this is you being uncomfortable, and then eating the taco is the comfortable part, and somebody trades you money to get to eat that taco, right? So that's is a very interesting concept. So if you want to make more money, look for a job that fewer people want to do. It probably pays more money. It surprisingly probably pays more money. Well, you know, it might be a job nobody wants to do. It also might be a job that few people are qualified for. And this is the other way to make lots of money. You got to do a job that's complex. So if you want to make more money, don't do a job that a lot of people can do. Do a job that few people can do. This will pay a lot more. So it is important to actually think about those things in those manners because you want to make more money. And I want you to make lots of money so you can come over here to the Gameconomist live stream and give me huge donations and be like, thank you for the big PP energy. Got expert. We'll just keep it the way it is. I have a problem. My PP is so good it makes girls all over my bed. Then I have to clean up every day. I can't put up with that having to wash them so much. What do I do? So I wouldn't change anything about your PP. What I would do is I would just tell them that you gotta be at their place. You don't host at your place. Pretty easy. Also, don't get yourself in trouble with like an STD. Fan says, here's the button combo, YB, YY, Y. Oh, no. There's YB, YY, YB, and pull back the stick. Right, I got you. Because that's going to turn into an aid. Alright. That's helpful, actually. I'm surprised the double Y there. I figured it would have been YBY. It's not uncomfortable. It's boring for the most part. What? Well, yeah. Well, that's the thing. You're trading your time. Do you understand, Miss Jack? You're trading your time. What do you have in life to trade that is more valuable than anything else in life? Your time. You never get more of it. You only get less of it, right? So you only get less time. So you're trading your time for money is what you're doing. And if you're only being paid like $15 an hour for that, you're not doing a very good job. Or whatever it is you make, like 7, 8, 9, 10. If you're trading your time, your most valuable resource, to flip burgers at McDonald's, you're not trading your time very well. So you need to go get a job skill that is worth even more money and tell McDonald's hasta la vista, right? That's what you got to do. And if enough people do this, McDonald's will naturally be forced to raise their payments because nobody will want the job at McDonald's. Rather than having the government come in and be like, all right, McDonald's, now you have to pay more money. If everyone had a valuable job skill, then McDonald's would be forced to pay more because the labor market for that kind of work would be smaller, naturally. Do you see how it's supposed to work? But the government comes in and says, now we're going to force McDonald's to pay more. And really all they do is they pass that off to the... well, I'm not going to say they pass it off to the consumer. That argument's not always correct either. But it's artificial. It's not the free market increasing the wages on that. It's actually politicians deciding what McDonald's should pay, and there's always an inefficiency when you have something like that. There's an inefficiency. The funny thing is, it doesn't hurt McDonald's as much as it hurts McDonald's competitors. McDonald's competitors are probably a mom and pop shop that can't afford huge changes like that. They can't afford to pay more. It's McDonald's that can afford to pay more wages. So McDonald's, essentially, you get rid of McDonald's competitors and McDonald's just sells more hamburgers and they're fine because of the minimum wage. How do we get on this subject? Man, I like talking about economics. Oh, that was a good one. Let's talk some more. Cries of minimum wage. Yeah, just don't forget that when you're being paid minimum wage, you are giving up the most valuable thing in life, something you can't buy. You're giving up time. You can't buy more time in life. Yeah, you can't buy more time in life. And that's why they pay you for it. That's why you can make money off of trading your time at a place like, McDonald's or Burger King, wherever you're working. Woo! Bruh! How's it going, Time Fuzzball? Who cares about their competitors? I want people to be paid a better wage. Right, but in a free market, people are paid what others are willing to pay them and what others are willing to spend. So if I operate a McDonald's and I'm not willing to pay you more money, in a free market, I shouldn't be forced to pay you that money. And if you decide it doesn't pay enough, what you do is you go somewhere else for a different job. Because you go, well, McDonald's doesn't pay enough. And so you leave to go find a better paying job. When it turns out there is no better paying job, then you realize the demand for your labor is actually not that high. That's how it's supposed to work. The demand for your labor is actually not that high. Because if it was really high, McDonald's would be like, well, okay, we're going to have to pay this because we got to have this labor. It makes economic sense for us to hire this labor. We're going to lose more money if we don't hire them at the wages that they want. That's how it's supposed to work, but it doesn't work that way because politicians come in and say, all right, so we're going to force all these companies to pay more money that they definitely might not have. And the truth is McDonald's probably is able to absorb it somehow, right? But guess who can't absorb it? A small company. So you're actually damaging all of the small businesses, the companies that compete with McDonald's. And once McDonald's comes in and wipes out all of its competition with higher wages, it's just McDonald's at the top. And then there's only one hamburger to buy, so McDonald's sells more hamburgers anyways, and they're totally fine. Seventh Night says, even if you're not trying to be one of those nomad truck drivers, you can easily make money driving buses and heavy vehicles. That's correct. If you have a good driver's license, a good driving record, there's quite a few driving jobs out there, including jobs where you operate construction machinery, forklifts. You could be a bus driver. You could be a school bus driver. And those jobs pay a bit better. I would say some of them might pay quite well. If you think about it, there's a crane operator out there somewhere. And, you know, those guys are getting older. They're going to retire. You might be a little younger. And guess what? Somebody's got to sign up and operate a crane. So if you want a good paying job, go get your crane operating license. For all you know, that job might pay like $60,000 a year. I think it would. I don't think people wake up very often and go, you know what, I want to be a crane operator. I don't think that happens very often. Yeah, that's a good one, actually. It's such an interesting job because if you really like video games, and I imagine you do like video games because you're watching me play video games. So if you like video games, if you think about it, being like a crane operator not only is a pretty well-paying job, but you get to sit on your ass and operate a machine with controls. So if you're good at video games, operating something like a crane should be on your list of jobs to actually check out. Here's another one. See, we're on the topic of jobs now. Here's another interesting job. I keep mentioning this to people, but I don't know if I get through with it. There's very, very good paying technology jobs where you operate software. Okay, so a lot of people, when they think of technology, they're like, oh, coding, right? That's not true. So the coders will make a lot of business software for, like, let's say a bank. And the banks operate this software to do some really valuable things, like transferring millions of dollars of money. And the software itself is never simple. It's not like playing a video game. It's actually more complicated than a video game, the software is, right? So the banks have to operate this software, and what they do is they hire people who are good at operating software. Well, if you love video games, this is basically a perfect job for you. Do you understand? So if you like video games, go get a job operating software for like a bank. They hire people to run their internal software all day and make $1 million transfers, and you got to be real good at it or they don't want you. I'm playing like shit because I'm talking. But yeah, so there's probably lots of jobs like that. Not just banks, but any company that operates software. So get a job as an software operator. Also, when you're coding, there's a lot of testers. Okay, so there's coders, and then there's code testers. And those guys, they don't write the code, which means they don't really have to be... It depends on what code we're talking about, but you generally don't have to be as good at like coding. You can just be really good at testing. And yeah, and testers, it just uses kind of a different part of your brain, in my opinion. So it's really not as difficult as coding. It usually doesn't pay as well either. But this is another job that, if you like to play video games, it is a great job opportunity for you because it pays well. You get to be in an office, and oh, you did it, nice. You get to be in an office. It pays fairly well, and it probably is something you'll enjoy if you like video games. So I talk about software operator for something like a bank. I talk about maybe a construction machine operator. You can be like a forklift driver for the right company and make a lot of money, right? So a lot of companies have to hire lots and lots of forklift drivers. And if you're really talented at it, if you've been doing it for a while, like let's say you've been doing it for 6-7 years, you paid a lot of money to get a fancy forklift operator job at the right company. You know, some companies have maybe material that's more valuable or more dangerous. So what do you think they do? You think they hire the brand new forklift operators? They don't. They hire the forklift operators that have been doing it for a while because they don't want their product messed up. Fans like, yeah, your combos are all over the place. I play like shit when I start talking because I'm thinking about what I'm going to be saying. Kyle says, I have a master's degree, but with my skill set, I need to get freelance. But after 7 years, I'm still struggling, thinking of applying to McDonald's. Kyle, I know somebody just like you. I'm going to tell you guys a story. I have an old friend. He was always kind of an odd guy. You know, maybe he was on the autistic spectrum. I consider him a friend. He's from my childhood, and he went to the same college I did. We actually ran into each other there, and he got a degree in accounting. Now, I would say an accounting degree is one of the best degrees you could possibly get, because it's a business degree, and it can get you most business jobs, I assume. And yet he was not able to get a job anyways. For him, it didn't matter how good his education or valuable his degree was. There was a problem with him. I'm going to guess it's a social problem. He's not very good socially. And I think that's probably the issue here. He's not very good socially, so it didn't matter what degree he has. And I would look into that for yourself as well. If you have a master's degree, there's no reason you should be going to McDonald's. There should be work for you out there with the master. Assuming you're telling the truth here, there should be work for you with the master's degree. The real problem might actually be a social problem. The other thing is, after he couldn't get a job in accounting, he went on to go back to school for learning how to do software engineering. I don't know where he's gone from that, but last time I checked, he's in a ton of student debt with no job, and it's like a worst possible outcome. Yeah, so it's like the worst case scenario. He's probably kicking himself right now. He's probably going to spend the rest of his life in debt, because he's probably, I don't think he will ever get good at social skills, unfortunately for him. It's just the truth for some people. It's just how it is. Woo. Yeah, so it didn't matter that he had a fancy degree. He has... Oh, god darn it. I was hoping that you would land past me. Scaring me. Going to sleep. Hopefully you guys, you know, are able to sort of develop yourselves socially so that your degrees aren't a waste. Because if you can't do that, if you're like permanently stuck with bad social skills, your degree could end up just being a big debt trap for you. Okay, let's see. What packs do we have today, and how many? So I have Hidden Fates coming in. I'm still waiting for the mailman to arrive. And then after he arrives, we'll see exactly what we have, because I might have more than Hidden Fates. Sometimes packages do arrive early. Also, it's possible for the packages to arrive late, so he could be like, sorry man, or the internet, the USPS would be like, sorry man, we didn't get your package to you on time. Nice. Whew. But the mailman hasn't arrived to answer your question, Mary. I'm still waiting on him. I was going to shoot her out of the air with the bomb pod, but I realized I'd rather let her go to sleep. I actually regret not going to a trade school and went to college. Well, that's because college teaches you a bunch of stuff you don't need to know, like Shakespeare. College teaches you a ton of stuff you don't need to know. And they do that to make you, quote, educated. Like, oh, he's well educated. He knows Shakespeare, right? But it's like, you know what? You can become well educated on YouTube for free. It's time for us to figure that out and stop wasting so much money. You can get educated on YouTube for free. Oh, right. We don't have a charged shield. We'd still smack him on the head. God damn. Nice job. Nice job. She's so dead. Are we getting cluster bombed? Do you gotta be careful with those cluster bombs. God, she interrupted me. And she smacked me. I always feel somewhat sad when I hear about those huge student loans people have. You should go to Germany for your degree. It's free there. It is absolutely not free to get your degree in Germany People have to stop lying about that. It is not free to get your education in Europe. It's not free. They pay for it in their taxes. In America, the tax brackets are considerably lower than it is in Germany. So consider this. You could pick up a $45,000 debt in America and become educated, and for the rest of your life, pay like 10 to 20% taxes for the rest of your life. That's a lot of money. That's a lot more than $40,000 in fact. $40,000 is not that much money if you get a good paying job. That's like 1 year of debt, maybe 2 years. For me and my wife, it's going to be 2 years, but that's because her mother is struggling. You know, she got sick, and unfortunately, her family did not have any savings at all. So we've been helping them with the bankruptcy. But if we were not helping them with the bankruptcy, my wife and I would have been debt free in a single year. It would have been 1 year, and we would have gotten out of it. So the whole issue with her mother has really held us back on this issue. We've been scared to pay toward our student debt because we never know if we're going to need like an injection of cash. We've been paying for 2 mortgages, and we've had to put money down for a lot of stuff, obviously, right? If you're making good money, you pay off your student loan in 1 to 2 years easily in America. The jobs pay more, and you pay considerably low taxes. When people from Europe say, oh, we have free healthcare, what they mean to say is we have high taxes that then pays for the, I'm sorry, not healthcare, education. They have high taxes that then pays for the education. Now, this is not a problem. You can have socialized education. It's so funny, we always end up talking about this. You can pay for socialized education. Here's what I would not do. I would not want to pay for really useless degrees, which we have a lot of in America. We have a lot of stupid degrees for people who are, you know, just wanting to go to college for fun, essentially. So there are degrees not worth investing in, like dance theater is one I always bring up because that was an option. When I went to college, I could have gone to college for dancing. I could have gone to school for fine arts. This would be like sculpting, I guess, or drawing paintings. I could have gone to school for probably some sort of like gender studies course, or, you know, I don't know, right? They've got all these crazy courses. What they're saying in Germany is we pay for those with our taxes. That's what they're saying. They're saying everyone gets to go, even people who are going to drop out get to go for free, even though they should not be going at all. And if they pick a really stupid degree, we pay for it anyways. That's what they say when they say we have free education. All right. And that's, I don't agree with that. I don't think it's a very clever thing, and I think calling it free is a lie, and I think it sort of further pushes people into believing it's such a great thing. So just do some simple math. This is not complicated math. Let's say in America the taxes are 10% lower than Germany, just 10, and you make, let's say, $70,000 a year. What's an extra 10% of 70,000? That's like 7,000, right? So $7,000 bonus. Do that for the rest of your life. So you get out of school at 22. Do that for 40 years. Multiply 7,000, assuming your wages stay at 7,000, and multiply that by 40. What would that be? 7 times 4 is like, here, I'll just do the math on a calculator so I don't embarrass myself. Is that 280,000? So let's see, 40 times 7,000. Yeah, $280,000. You're talking about $250,000 over your lifetime if your income stays at 70,000. Over $250,000 that you give to the German government to pay for other people's stupid degrees. And they're not all stupid, actually. Probably lots of degrees are valuable for society. But then there's going to be junk classes that nobody needs. You pay for it. You pay for it with your taxes, and you're told that it's free. It's absolutely not free. It's paid for. It's all paid for. You gotta stop using that language. It's like brainwashing almost. Who told you that, and why did you believe it? Who told you it was free? It's a trick. It's a mental trick. It's such a trick to think that that's free. It's never free. It's always paid for, and you're the one paying for it. That's the funniest part. You're the one actually paying for it. Over the course of your lifetime, paying an additional 10% taxes on $70,000 adds up to $280,000, over $250,000. That's over the course of one lifetime. Think about how crazy that is. Just 10%, by the way. Just 10% more. So if you are actually paying more than 10% taxes, you're paying more than $280,000 over the course of your working life. More than that. And just consider this, the government doesn't necessarily invest your money well. You could have taken that $250,000 and invested it yourself. So imagine $280,000 invested properly over the course of your lifetime at the age of 60. The difference between the wealth of where you would have been in Germany and where you would have been in America is massive. You could be a multimillionaire with that kind of investing money. And of course, you didn't earn it all at once, but not to, the compound interest also does affect you a lot by the end of your life as well. So you need to think more carefully about this stuff. I think people invest their own money better than the government and better than other people. Who's going to invest your money better when it comes to education? Will you invest your money better with education? Or do you want the guy next to you taking your money and deciding what degree he's going to get with it? Who's going to invest that money? It's an easy question. It's an easy question. The reason there's so few successful people and so many people who struggle is because successful is just nature or something. I don't know what it is. A better solution is to teach people to invest their money well rather than have the people who are actually doing well be punished. Don't punish the people who are doing well. Let them, succeed and invest their... That's my opinion. You feel free to disagree with me. Feel free to disagree. It is the TheGameconomist show, after all. TheGameconomist. I'm here to send you to the decoration farm. Here, let's start up another quest. Free education is not free. Who keeps saying that? It's definitely not free. It's free for the person who they go for dance theater. Yeah, for them it's free. You know why? Because they're not going to earn any money, which means they're never going to pay back the real cost of their degree. You're going to pay for it. Yeah, for them it's actually free. For you, it's like just missing money. It's crazy. Is live talk over? Nope, we're still going. So let's see. Hi Kay says, sorry to interject. When do you actually start to farm up decorations? Fair way into the Iceborne story? I would do it after I've collected my armor set and my charms. Then I would go for decorations last. Is the tax only going to university? There's all kinds of different social programs. So it might be like healthcare, it might be education, but there's a lot of things. College doesn't necessarily make people smart. You still see lots of crazies with degrees. That's correct. I was just talking about how I have a friend. He has very poor social skills. He has an accounting degree, and he's not able to get a job. The issue is not the education. The issue is him. And in Germany, you guys would just be paying for him to just keep going back to school. But in America, he's putting himself into debt, so he's responsible for getting himself back out of debt. So his choices don't affect your life, do you see? So this is kind of nice. Six String Samurai says, in Germany we pay taxes, so we have pretty much a life where we can frick up really hard and do stuff we like and still succeed in life. Right. Well, and that's, you can make this argument if you want. I personally feel that I'm smart enough to have my own money, pay lower taxes, and still save up for my own health care and pay off my own education and make better choices with my education. So I don't want to pay for your education, but you don't have to pay for mine either. See? That's kind of nice. You don't have to pay for my education. You don't have to pay for my health care. I'll pay for it myself. And I'll make choices that I think are best for me as an educated individual. And I won't waste my money on drugs, and I won't waste my money on McDonald's, and I won't become morbidly obese. And when I'm much older, maybe this will pay off in the end, right? And the thing is, it's all my money. So I'm pushed to make smarter decisions, because if I make poor decisions, I'm the one who loses, not society. I lose. And when you lose your own money, you're forced to make smarter choices. But when you're using someone else's money, you inevitably just say, I'll do whatever I want. You get a lot of people who are like that. They go, I'll do whatever I want. The society will pay for it. How's it going, Toxic? Mary says, what do you think about needing experience to get a job, but a job to get experience? Right, I've heard about that. Having just been employed not too long ago and just out of school, I came out of school with no experience. Let me say this, while you're in school, you should be getting internships, okay? So that's an important issue for people who say, oh, I don't have any experience. Well, it's like, when you were in school, you had an opportunity to earn experience through internships during the summertime and even the wintertime. Some internships will last through the winter. So for people who are complaining about not having enough experience, it might have been the case that they didn't They didn't actually apply for any internships. There were a lot of people at school who didn't apply for internships, including me and my wife, because we just weren't educated on that issue. There's internships, and this really helps you by giving you experience, and you get to meet people who are hiring workers. Another issue is when it comes to high demand jobs, they do not care as much about experience. They care, especially like in technology, the need for workers is so bad. They'll be like, oh, you got to have a few years of experience, but it's like, I don't have it, and they'll be like, we'll teach you, we'll teach you. That's how they are. They're like, we don't even care if you don't have the experience. We will teach you because we got to have workers. We don't have enough workers. And they're like, they're pulling people out of India. They're like, all right, well, there's no Americans who can do this job. We're going to have to hire workers from India. And then you go to a business like I did, and almost everyone's from India because there are no Americans to do the job. So it's actually, it depends. You know, like if you want to go into law and they're saying, well, we don't hire you unless you're a lawyer who's had 7 years experience or something like that. I can understand that, but technology was not like that. Technology, they just couldn't get enough worker. And there were some technology jobs where it was like, well, you got to have 7 years of working with JavaScript to get this job. But guess what? There was like a million other jobs that weren't like that. They were like, please, we'll take anyone. You just got to prove you're educated, or you have to take this test. I actually took did you know for one of the interviews that I did, there was an actual IQ test. There was an IQ test. They didn't actually care about your coding. They wanted to know what your IQ was. Look at this guy. You keep enjoying living in a country whose main profit is the medical care of its people, says Diamond Duck. Enjoying living in a country whose main profit... Actually, I think a lot of what our country makes its profit off of is Hollywood. Is that not right? America's best export is Hollywood, I thought. Now you've got me curious. I will take a look at it. Hold on. Also, I'm pretty sure Apple and Microsoft and all these technology companies make more money than the medical companies. We also do oil, don't we? So there's an awful lot of industry in America. It's not just medical. I know this is a deep convo. Oh, I'm sorry. My chat just skipped ahead to the end. Oh! He's like, ow. Come on now. I should probably pay attention. Is this not... This is a tempered fight, right? These streamers is way too educational. I love it. Learn a lot here than I ever will, lol. I gotta find a job, says Mess Chuck. Heck yeah, Mess. Then you can do all the drugs with us. Drugs aren't free, man. You gotta have money to do drugs. Actually, I was just watching a... You know, something I really enjoy watching is like studies of crime and stuff like that. And I was watching this really interesting one about this... not a professional. He was a ex-football player, and he robbed an armed vehicle because he was addicted to drugs. It was really interesting. He robbed a vehicle. One of those armored money bag vehicles, right? You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, he robbed one of those. I was like, ooh, he's stealing. He was like addicted to painkillers or something. He couldn't afford them anymore. So he turned to theft. Is Savage Axe viable? No. Never use Savage Axe. I would never use it. It's totally unviable. Oh, I was supposed to use it right there. What the hell? It went through with the save. Oh my god, he's gonna KO me in a minute. Alright, hold on. Alright. Oh, what the hell? What Switch X is that, says Brutus. Hey, glad I finally caught one of your streams. Enjoyed your top tier content over the last few months. Oh, thanks, man. He stayed into a tree. Amazing. It was supposed to be me going into Savage Axe, obviously. Where'd he go? What the hell? I work in marketing. All the info in my classes were 10 years behind. Oh, that's another thing. That's another thing. That was true for coding as well, by the way. So for technology, getting a computer science degree, what was interesting was the degree does help you get jobs, but actually you had to like actually learn the latest technology, which the school wasn't teaching at all. There was like maybe one or two classes that were actually really good, but a lot of the information you learned was very outdated. It made me kind of concerned about American education. I was like, man, I bet other countries don't do this. I bet they actually get. It just seems like a lazy thing. I don't know. It seems like a. Who knows? I don't know anything about other countries' education systems. I've heard that our public schools are not that good, though. But I was homeschooled, so I know nothing about that. Oh wait, we're already in Savage Axe. Oh, he's back down. Oh, what? That just gotta be knocked down a third time. What was your most enjoyable job you've had so far? Okay, definitely my job with the bank, where I was contracted to help them move over to a brand new database. It was a level of pay I'd never experienced in life before. It paid so much compared to any other job I'd ever done. And honestly, I wasn't sure how I would feel about a job paying so well. It felt amazing. It actually makes the... So I said much earlier on that doing work, what you're really doing is you're trading your time. And for a lot of the jobs I've done, they've all been labor jobs. They're not really, you end up feeling like, oh man, why am I spending my money on, or not my money, my time on this? But it's like for this job, the pay is so good that you're like, I don't even mind. I want the money. See what I'm saying? So if you've ever had trouble like waking up and going to work in the morning or in the afternoon, and maybe you're earning like, I don't know, like $7 to $12 an hour, you're like, I don't even care about the money today, right? Like, what is it going to be, $60 to $80? Well, imagine waking up and being like, I'm going to earn $500 today, right? And then you're just like, oh, well, time to go. Because the money's so good, you actually feel pretty good about it. You get to go on nicer vacations in life. You get to buy a nicer home. So the pay actually does matter. Look at this. The trap didn't work. Tessa's like, no. Guess he can't be caught there. Oh, there he goes. So the pay alone made the job much nicer. But the next thing that happened was, because it was such a high-paying job, everyone was dressed super fancy, and all the people there were super professional, super mature, and you're in an actual desk sort of job where you sit down and you have a fancy computer desk and you're wearing a suit and it feels like you're older actually. You feel like more of an adult than before, and it feels like you've walked into like a higher class in society. Like you've officially moved up the ladder, it was a new experience as well. All those things were brand new experiences. In fact, I really started to feel it near the end of my senior year in computer science, because what happened was we started going to all of these career events that these software companies would host, and you would go there and they have these really fancy offices where their workers work, and they like give you tours, and you already start to feel like fancier. You start to feel more valuable because of it. When you're in the actual college, you just feel like another student drinking alcohol and having wild sex and all the other things that computer scientists don't actually do in school. But yeah, so you just feel like a college student. But once you actually start getting into those offices, it feels like you've moved up the social ladder. Aren't you more supposed to learn how to think in computer science class? At least that's how more natural science courses work. That's true, MTT dang. There are courses like logic. There are courses in mathematics. There's courses in low-level languages, which by that I mean older languages that kind of teach you how the hardware works on a computer with the software. So there's a lot of courses like that. But then there's actual courses that are meant to teach you how to use a specific language, and it's all outdated stuff because once you get out into the real world, it's all been developed so far by companies that actually have to turn a profit that you're basically relearning it. But it's true, you learn two things. You learn how to look up what you need for coding, and you learn how to learn to code, basically. So those are the two critical aspects that you learn. Because, a lot of companies will have very customized software that involved a lot of technology, it could even be older technology, which is funny. So you run into older technologies that are poorly mixed with newer technologies. I'm talking about software, right? They're poorly mixed, and sometimes the work will just be trying to solve how to get them to work together better, or how to get rid of the old software, like what I was doing for the bank. So yeah, there's certainly a mix of it, but there's so much that they just don't teach you in school, at least at my school. In the end, it didn't matter because, again, the actual demand for the workers is so high, the pay is great, and then you're just like, yeah, this is fine. I can retire on this, right? And then also, I pay less taxes because I'm in America. It's terrific. Hold on. That's the number one thing holding me back from moving out of America, by the way, right now. Definitely the taxes. Despite all of the negative things about America, you pay less taxes here. It's hard to argue with that. You get to keep more of your own money. So, Augmenta says, I find it hard to believe that any public schools are even close to decent. Well, I don't know anything about them. I've definitely had friends who told me that their high school was good, but I've had more people tell me that they were bad. Nikosi McRae says, how high is a high salary for someone fresh out of college? Nikosi, it entirely depends on what degree you went after. If you went after a master's degree in, what do they call it, social work, you might be paid like $50,000 a year, and then you will just spend the rest of your life in debt. If you went to school for a 4-year degree in computer science, software engineering, and you went after an actual science degree, not the Bachelor of Arts, the Bachelor of Science, you could step out and reasonably expect to be paid for $70,000 right off the bat, $70,000, and it only goes up from there. Low level English, you mean Latin? you could probably learn Latin if you wanted. Never insult me again or go watch The Ranch. What? Oh, hold on. I missed it. Here to decent Charge Blade gameplays. Oh, look at that! Fan made a fan made a donation. Am I learning it a little better? In my opinion, the only way to really get good with the weapon is to spend a very long time with it, so we're not even close to being done. We just have to play a lot with it. Same with the sword and shield. It was the same with the longsword when we were doing that earlier on the PlayStation. By the end of the story on the PlayStation, I was like, wow, I'm way better at the longsword. So you can understand a weapon, but to actually be good at it, you need practice. Six String Samurai says, to sum it up, America is good if you get lucky, and nothing stops you in your tracks. If you have bad luck, you are pretty much effed for life. Yep, that's exactly how it works. Bram Butterchamp says, 70K, damn. Deluxe says, yet I have went out with a Catholic girl, they think I care. What? Fan is donating, nani. King says, getting out of the military and looking into human resources. Seems that'll always be around. Yeah. I wouldn't bet on anything always being around these days. Software is really good. King Hantaki says, oh, I already read that one. Doing something wrong here. What is wrong with the BA, Bachelor of Arts in Computer Science? Well, in my... What I see wrong with it is in my college, if you went for the Bachelor of Arts, it meant that you took a lot of soft, easy classes. You didn't have to take calculus, physics 2. You didn't have to take the highest levels of mathematics. So there are certain classes that you avoid when you go for the Bachelor of Arts, whereas the Bachelor of Science forces you to take a lot more science courses, but most importantly, it makes you take the most difficult math courses and the most difficult courses in science as well. So there were some really advanced physics courses you had to take, really advanced math courses, and what I've learned is it's basically like night and day. Taking a course in business is something you could do in your free time at home. Just pick up a book on business and read it. You're done. Taking a course on something like calculus physics 2 is far more difficult. When we were in the actual classroom, they had all kinds of this advanced machinery and everything for you to actually practice what you were learning. Stuff you could not really buy and bring home with you, so you would not be able to actually test it for yourself. So I feel like those courses were some of the best courses I took in my entire education. Was stuff like, calculus, physics 2 was one of the best courses. Same with the really high level math courses that teach you. You're past the point of knowing how to apply, like equations. Now you're trying to learn basically the logic behind the questions, the equations, and also the questions that are being asked with mathematics. Like, why is this the way it is, right? So that's what those higher level courses were for, and they were also really valuable. It basically helped you see what math is at its core. Rather than just being able to apply math, you kind of know what the point of it is. Whoa! Mr. Clean just got oofed. Wow, so if I had tried to counter guard point there, he probably would have wrecked me. Counterattack off of the guard point, I think is what I'm trying to say. Let's go ahead and... Oh, I guess you can't scroll through your wheel and guard at the same time. That's interesting. Let's go ahead and soften up his tail. As an American who got unlucky, you're not F for life, but you do have to put a lot into getting back on the horse. There are a lot of traps and bad choices easily to slide into, and you have to avoid. And I think that's true for most things in life. It's not just about living in America. It's about... You can get unlucky in Germany. You can get unlucky in other countries, right? Oh, snap. You can get unlucky anywhere. I think probably one of the most unlucky things that can happen to you is you can contract cancer at a very young age. I'm pretty sure we already covered that. I would have to look it up to confirm. I'm pretty sure in America, if you get cancer at a young age, there's already a lot of programs to help you deal with it. Because I'm sure it's an issue of pretty much anyone who doesn't think that a young person deserves help with cancer is probably not going to do well at the polls, right? I'm talking about politicians. Imagine being a politician running on the argument that, oh yeah, we're going to take cancer-fighting care away from 20-year-olds. Nobody's going to vote for that politician. It'll never happen. So I would feel it's probably already in existence. I would actually have to look it up to confirm that it is, though, because I don't actually know. Ouch, that hurts. It's actually mostly the elderly, I'm assuming, who want the socialized healthcare. Not the young people. The young people want the socialized education. In Germany, I don't know much about German education. I don't know if you guys have a lot of crazy subjects to go for. In America, there's a lot of crazy subjects to go for. Subjects that definitely won't earn you money. And we, on college campus, we have a big kind of like party culture. That was true where I went too. Like, the most important thing to American students at the college I went to was basically how fun was the party going to be, okay? That was basically, you have your studies, but actually the most important thing was, okay, when's the next public event where we can all hang out and drink beers and, mingle and all that, right? A lot of money was placed on that. We have our spring break, right? So how do we have all these students who are heavily in debt, but spring break is a thing? It just shouldn't exist. If you're an adult, and I'm, like just a regular adult, you're not in school. If you're an adult and you can't afford to go on vacation, you're like, let's say you're an adult with $40,000 of debt, but you go on a vacation anyways and you spend $3,000. Is somebody else supposed to pay for that? Vacation for you? Is somebody supposed to pay for that? It's a very bad made-up idea. It's a very bad made-up idea, and it's not free when we put it into the taxes. So basically, this is probably how I imagine it. I know guys who they became like oil changers, basically. They didn't go to college. They would probably be hated by liberal women, essentially. Liberal women would look at them and scoff. Young men who decided, I'm going to work on vehicles instead of going to college and getting a fancy degree like Gameconomist did. They're just going to get a job changing oil. And they didn't go on a spring break. And now they're being told they have to pay for all these girls' spring breaks. And the subject in whatever it is, history, philosophy, maybe religious studies. There's a lot of religious studies too, by the way. So you've been working already, and you didn't get the enjoyment of making all these friends in college, and you didn't get the enjoyment of having a fancy degree and feeling fancy and telling your kids, yeah, I'm fancy, I have a degree. So you don't get the benefit of all that. You just went straight to work right out of high school. And politically, you and the people who go to college are nothing alike. But then these people are telling you now you have to pay for our degree, and is a huge injustice. It's an amazing injustice, actually. There are entrepreneurs too. Entrepreneurs who said, you know what, I'm not going to go to school. I'm going to take a risk on opening a business. They're going to go to school, but I'm going to take a risk on opening a business and providing jobs for people, right? That would be the entrepreneurs, high-risk entrepreneurs. They're being asked to pay for everyone's education too. Imagine that. Imagine that. Why even bother? Why even bother trying to be an entrepreneur when you know you have to pay for everyone's education either way? You might as well just go, right? So it's all of it's very frustrating, and it's absolutely not free. Anyone who thinks it's free has just been lied to, honestly. If you think it's free, you've been lied to. Or you've been, convinced that it's free, but it's simply not. It's paid for. And you know it, and I know it, and it's crazy language when you say it's free, because it's just not. Mary Best Mod changed my mind. Other Germans, can you confirm? I don't really think there is a big party culture at universities here. Next mod to talk is worst mod. I will start war before you do. Doesn't apply to Mary, though. What are you guys talking about? The mods being funny? I am both the best and the worst. Whoa. He's the alpha and the omega. Oh my god. But again, so socialized education. Let's say that a Democrat politician was trying to convince me to pay for everyone's education. I would agree to do it. There would have to be some changes made. People going to college on a socialized healthcare can't have spring break. We'd have to outlaw that right off the bat. Spring break's no longer a thing. So you got to go to school. It's being paid for by the public, and you do not go on a spring break while you're on school. The next thing that would have to happen, a whole bunch of classes would just have to disappear. Gender studies is gone. It's out of here. I'm not paying for that. That's garbage. It doesn't earn money. You can learn that stuff in your free time. Just go read a book on it. There's all kinds of subjects. You can just go read about it, right? I mean, that's what you do in school, right? So when you take a class in Shakespeare, what do they actually have you do? They have you read a book in Shakespeare. That's it. It's even true for math, and it's even true for computer science. They say, all right, you're here to learn calculus. Oh, here's the book. And then especially if you have a bad teacher, which there are plenty of bad teachers, you really are just reading the book or watching a YouTube video and then figuring it out on your own. So it's the same here. You want to learn gender studies? Go read the latest book on gender studies. It's no longer being paid for by the public. And so we would have to have this conversation about which subjects are actually going to be made socialized. And then that would be a much better situation, and I would agree to it, and I'd vote on it. I'd even say, yeah, let's go for it. These are the things that are good for society. And then we would have a centralized education system where people vote on what they think is good for their society, and that's it. Whereas in a free market society, individuals make that choice. See the big difference? In a free market society, if you think gender studies is valuable, you can go pursue gender studies, but you take all the risk rather than the society taking the risk. That's why the free market's so amazing. But if you really want a socialized, centralized system, we could try that as well. But there's all this obvious sort of like fat that can be trimmed out, like the spring break issue. Another one, let's say you're not allowed to buy a car while you're in college on a social program. So if you go to college and the public is paying for it, you're allowed to have a government assigned vehicle, and the vehicle will be very cheap, very economically cheap. It will not be like a Mercedes-Benz or whatever you see these college kids driving. You won't have any of that. You'll be given a state car. It will be a very cheap car, because we don't want you having us pay for your education while you use your own money to pay for a fancy car. That's cheating. So you can have a state car. It will be very cheap. Not allowed to buy cars. So and this is precisely what happens when you start to centralize all these social decisions. People start to get picky and decide what you're going to do and what you're not going to do. That's why they call it Big Brother, right? They call it Big Brother because he watches over your shoulder and he makes sure that you do what's good for the state. That's why they have that term, right? He makes sure you're not doing things that would hurt the party. I think it can work. It's just you would be giving up a lot of freedoms. And if anyone thinks that we can have both freedoms and a centralized government be prepared to pay for everyone's shit. Be prepared to pay for a bunch of stuff you would never pay for. Like kids to go on spring break. You should never be paying for someone else's vacation. You should be paying for your own vacation. It's just silly. Other than the STEM fields and very few other cases, college is a scam. Well, I don't want to say it's a scam, but I think there's a lot of fat that can be trimmed out of what you're paying for college. I think, oh, Mr. Clean, you just triple carded. Mr. Clean, no! Mr. Clean wiping us. There's a lot of fat that can be trimmed out, right? There's a lot of things you don't need in college, and you pay for it because you agree to pay for it. But if you're going to have the public pay for it, if you're going to have guys, these are like maybe conservative guys who didn't want to go to some liberal college, they want to stay home, they want to work on cars, they want to work on a farm. If you're going to ask them to pay for your college, you better trim all the fat out. I think that's only fair. Clean's like, sorry, I died multiple times. I saw that, Mr. Clean. So my logic is, if you help those people, they're going to spend their money somewhat, giving it back to the economy. Mess Jack, that is another economic lie. The economic lie here is that any money spending is good for the economy. This is not true. Economics is all about the efficient allocation of resources. Efficient allocation of resources. So if I take $500 and let's say I invested in Capcom, I'm being more efficient than somebody who's taking $500 and buying lottery tickets. One of the common total lies that politicians say is, oh, the money goes back into the economy. If you give poor people money, if you just take from everyone else and give poor people money, the money goes back into the economy anyways. Not really. What happens is it goes back into the economy in a very inefficient way. They buy alcohol, they buy lottery tickets, they buy luxury vehicles that they don't need. You don't need a luxury vehicle, guys. Just buy a vehicle that drives you from point A to point B and save a bunch of money. They buy homes that are larger than they need. Remember, we had the housing bubble? That was what gave us the recession in 2008, was the housing bubble. You know what caused the housing bubble? A bunch of people buying houses that they can't afford. That's what caused the housing bubble, along with the fact that the banks allowed them to buy it, right? So it was a combination of the people and the banks. So you're talking about, oh, the money just goes back into the economy anyways. No. The way the money is spent matters a lot. If the money is carefully invested, then the economy grows. If the money is just consumed on useless consumables, it is not well spent. It does not go back into the economy. Okay? Very, very big difference. Very, very big difference. And politicians don't tell you that because they need to convince you to agree to have the money redistributed. That's, because that's their whole platform. It's like, oh yeah, give us your money. Don't do it. Give Capcom your money. Invest in Capcom. You'll make some money. Do it. Take your money and invest it yourself. Don't let the government invest it for you. Big brain. Come on. Mary says, I need a vehicle that I can frick in. Well, buy a huge van and remove the back seats. Taryn says, when you said get rid of spring breaks, oops. Taryn says, when you said get rid of spring break, you meant for college, not high school, right? High school kids get a spring break? Are you kidding me? That's crazy. I had no idea about that. I assumed it was strictly a college thing. I didn't know it happened in high school. That's crazy. How are you... Well, whatever. Yeah, but I do mean for college. Get rid of spring break, and that will help convince me that maybe we should socialize education. If the education is world competitive, you cut out all the stupid classes you can take. There's classes you can take where you just read Twilight. Do you guys know that? Twilight, the vampire story? There was some liberal college professor, and that was all she taught, was like Twilight, writing or something like that. So people go to school to learn how to write, and they read like Twilight in a class. Get rid of all that stupid shit. I will pay for your education. It turns out if you want to analyze Twilight, you can do that for free on your own time without asking for me to pay it for you. But if you want to learn calculus physics, that's actually very difficult, and you have to have somebody to provide you with equipment to do experimentations with. I will help you with that. I don't mind. But Twilight, come on. It's just so flagrant. Is that the right word? Flagrant? Is flagrant a word? I'm going to go look it up. It popped it up into my head. Of something considered wrong or immoral. I was using the word right. It's just so flagrantly a waste of money to spend money on something like that. And then, So yeah, that's an issue. And again, this is what leads to the whole big brother sort of government. If the government is paying for all your shit, if the government's paying for it, the government wants to make sure you're not wasting it. So the government starts to make decisions about how much food you can have, how much home you can have, what vehicle you can own, how should your hairstyle be. That's a real thing. In North Korea, you can't cut your hair any way you want it to be cut. They're like, nope, we're going to be the government, we're going to have control, we're going to have order, and we're going to decide how you cut your hair so that you look proper, right? So the more control you give a centralized government, the more control it seeks in order to make you profitable for them. You know, you want to talk about being able to make mistakes in life. A capitalist society, a free market society, allows you to make all kinds of mistakes. But when the government has to foot the bill, the government starts to think, maybe you shouldn't be allowed to make the decisions because you're kind of dumb. So we'll make the decisions for you. That's what ends up happening, guys. You have fewer freedoms in a socialized or communist society. Okay, I'm convinced. Burn this. High school gets a 2-week break for spring. Oh, well, that's different. I'm talking about spring break. So in America, we have this almost like a traditional holiday for college students called spring break, where you go on a lavish vacation. You go on a lavish vacation to the beach, and you spend probably in the range of $1,000 to $5,000 doing this. But imagine how many students are out there on the student loan taking this vacation. Because one of the things about the student loan is it doesn't discriminate how you spend the money. So you can spend the money any way you want. When you apply for the student loan in America, you could buy a fancy car that you don't need. You can buy a huge fancy laptop that you don't need. You can go on spring break that you also don't need. You can spend the money any way you want. The government just hands you a check and says that now you're in debt to the government. That's how the student loan works. So if you want to tell me, okay, Gameconomist, you have to pay for the student loans, I would say that's great, but now you're gonna make some decisions for the students. They're not allowed to go for useless degrees anymore. They're not allowed to buy a fancy computer. They're not allowed to buy a fancy car, and they're definitely not going on spring break. Because even I don't get to, you know, as an adult working, even you don't get to go on vacation. I didn't go on vacation last year. I didn't go anywhere. I just stayed at home and we just saved money. We didn't go on, vacation anywhere. It's just how it was. There wasn't enough money. So imagine being a full-grown adult, working every day, actually earning the money, and this stupid 20-year-old, at college is like, yeah, you're going to pay for me to go to the beach in Florida because that's how it works now. Absolutely not. It's a completely ridiculous idea. If I was wanting to go on a vacation myself, would you guys pay for that just because the government told you, oh, the vacation is free? Would you guys pay for that in your taxes? Of course you wouldn't. It's complete bullshit. Everyone knows it is. It doesn't take a lot of convincing. All you guys have to do is be aware of it. See, just by talking to me right now in the live stream, you're more aware of what's really going on financially, and then you want to make better financial choices. But before, when you're told, oh, Bernie Sanders, free education for all, that's all that goes on in your mind. You don't actually usually go past that, like, okay, how is the money actually spent, right? And that's kind of how credit cards work too. America is a country with a lot of debt. How do we get into all this debt? It's because we don't really do a lot of thinking about how the money is being spent. And one of the ways you don't do any thinking is you pick up something like a credit card, and the credit card allows you to buy things without thinking, but you need to account for everything. You need to account for everything you're spending money on. The stupid drink you buy at Starbucks every day. Multiply the cost of that times 28 or times 30. So if it's a $5 drink, and you do it every day for 30 days, each month you spend $150. If you multiply 150 by 12, what is that? That's like, that's 12, 150 times 12. That would be 12,000 plus 6,000. Is that 18,000? Let me check. 120, wait, did I do that wrong? 150 times 12. Yeah, so you spend roughly just under $2,000 each year on your Starbucks. So when you start to actually do the accounting on how you spend money and where it goes towards, you start to realize, oh wow, I just kind of waste my money on shit. Well, so do American students. They're especially good at wasting money because, they're offered a lot of free money by the government, and they're not very good at balancing a checkbook. They're not very good at avoiding credit card debt because they've never been in credit card debt before. It's a brand new thing for them. And we just have this whole system for ripping off young people. So Bernie Sanders comes in and says, well, this is a crisis now. It's definitely not a crisis, by the way. Everyone's just kind of more poor than they would like to be. That's the reality with the whole student loan. Everyone's just kind of more poor than they would like to be. You're in debt. You're like $45,000 in debt. So it's not a crisis. You have to pay back what you spent. That's normal finances. That's not like, oh, evil America, corporate America greed. Nope, you actually spent that money. You were told this is the price. Here's the money that you're borrowing. It's basically a bunch of young people learning how money works. And instead, the Democrats would just like to say, nah, we'll just pay for it all. $23 trillion in debt. Let's just pay for it all. I'm going to buy packs from TCC. Hell yeah. At least Pokemon. Hey, Mary, at least with Pokemon cards, you actually get something. Imagine getting a degree in nothing and going $45,000 into debt to have a degree that nobody wants. I'm going to look it up right now. The most useless degree. I'm going to look it up for you guys so that you guys can avoid it. What is the most useless degree? Okay, you guys ready? There's a top 10 most useless university degrees. We're going over it right now together. Number 1. I don't know if this is in a particular order. Number 1, Culinary Arts. Basically, if you go to college to learn how to cook food. Graduate chefs make just 2 to 11% more than their school leaver counterparts. This is because although some restaurateurs view culinary college as an indispensable career step, most are of the persuasion that academic credentials are inferior to raw talent and experience. You hear that? So it's a job that takes raw talent and experience, and you think you can just go to college and get a piece of paper and be a good chef. And it turns out the piece of paper doesn't really have that much value. Your skill as an actual chef is what mattered in the end. Number 2, fashion design. Yeah, there were fashion design degrees where I went to school for. This is one of the most useless degrees, and students go and take them, and then they can't figure out why they're poor later. Fashion design. I could be a fashion designer. I have a YouTube channel. That, by the way, I didn't have to go to school to do this. This was something I just learned. I just taught myself how to do it. That was all there was to it, right? And now I've got all of you guys watching. We have 110,000 roughly people watching. I'm sorry, not watching, but on the channel. 110 subscribers, right? I could be a fashion designer. I could design some clothing and sell it to you guys as merchandise. Wow. I didn't even have to go to school for it. There was no school necessary. Imagine going $45,000. Imagine going to an actually fancy college and going into like $70,000 of debt for this particular degree. Totally unnecessary, in my opinion. Just open a YouTube channel. Art history. Ah, yes, art history. So basically, I actually had to take a class in this. This was required education for me. Art history was required. So for art history, what you do is you look up famous paintings from like boomer years ago, right? Like a million years ago, famous paintings, and you memorize who wrote them, who drew them. That is art history in a nutshell. Really valuable to society today, worth so much money because you're going to be working as a painting person. It'd be like if you went to school to learn Pokemon cards. There's no difference between art history and going to school to learn about Pokemon cards. Alright, so this Pokemon is Charizard, and he came from the Rocket set. Wow, that's really nice. Alright, here's a test on which Pokemon card this is. That's art history in a nutshell. You could do it all for free. Music. People go to school for music. This one baffles me as well. So I get it if you're going to school for like maybe music theory and there's some really complex thing you're going to be doing for like an orchestra. But why in the world would you go to school for music? You think that most famous musicians in history went to school for a degree in writing their hits? No, they were just musically talented. They had like soul and feeling, right? They were poetic naturally, and they were practicing their instruments. If you think you can go to school and you can pay for that talent, you're just crazy wrong. Music degree. How many music degrees in Germany? How many students do you think right now are in German colleges right now for music degrees, and you guys get to pay for it?
I want to be a chef after I graduate high school, and my parents want me to go to culinary school, but I don't want to be in debt.
Nice. Well, maybe what you can do, Soiled, is find out if there's like 3 or 4 really critical classes you can take on cooking, and just take those classes and skip all the other classes, and then you'll come out with the information, and you can go online and do your own research and pick up books that you can just open up and read for very little money and just read the whole damn book. Just read the whole book and then go on YouTube and learn everything you can about being a culinary chef. And I think you would avoid going $45,000 into debt if you did this. All right, there you go. And then when you go become a chef, you can just immediately start saving and investing your money. Oh man. So on the list, number 5 is actually psychology, which is really ironic because I'm Dr. Conomist today. Do you hear that, guys? You can get free counseling from Dr. Conomist. I'm here. Talk to me about your depression and anxiety. I've got solutions to both. I'm already going to tell you it's cookies. All right. I'm just going to send you off to eat cookies. You're going to eat your feelings. Dr. Conomist, a PhD psychologist, specialized. So on the list of the most useless degrees is a psychology degree. I already know what it's going to say. I'm just going to read it over. Ultimately, a doctorate is the minimum academic level you'd need to reach to have any realistic hope of pursuing a relevant career in psychology. Therefore, in such a saturated market, essentially everyone's getting a psychology degree. Undergraduates have to get creative. For example, you could sell your understanding of human behavior to potential employers in order to try and obtain a marketing position. So you go to school for psychology and you find out, well, if you actually want to use psychology, you have to become a doctor. And then what you end up doing is you're like, well, now I have to use my degree in business, and that's where you're at. You're stuck using the degree in business, and that's your best case scenario if you went for a 4-year degree. Communications is on the list. Communications is a strangely vague degree. Excuse me. So I have a great story. You guys have probably heard this story before in the past. And I apologize, I'm not reading the comments because I'm reading this article. But my story is this. I woke up one day and I was going to drive the car and the battery was dead. And I hired an Uber to help me go to Walmart to get a battery. And I was talking to him about how I became a YouTuber after going to school for, like a computer science degree, because he had also been to school. Turns out he's $70,000. It was like $73,000 or $77,000 in debt for a communications degree. And now he drives for Uber. Now he's a taxi driver. Really bad. So on the list is communications. Number 7, liberal arts. Although liberal arts may be the go-to punching bag for all the dumbest degree barbs, this might be a little unfair after all. It encourages the development of critical thinking and soft skills. The problem is that this is all it does. In a STEM-driven economy, fewer than 2% of employees are actively looking to recruit liberal arts graduates as a result of their lack of vocational skills or work experience, unless you're willing to rack up even more debt chasing additional qualifications. So basically, liberal arts is not a valuable degree. That's what this is saying. You know why? Because you can go anywhere online or anywhere on YouTube to just learn some of the ideas. It could take you like a day. This is the craziest part. When it came to I had to take a few philosophy. I had to take two courses in philosophy. I chose logic, and then I chose philosophy of mind. Those were the 2 courses I chose. By the way, I aced logic. It was a very fun subject, and I was very good at it. So I'm just bragging at this point. But so for philosophy of mind, I'm reading all this made-up language, all these made-up words that the philosophers were creating to explain their explanation for how our spirit, basically, is different from our physical mind, or maybe there is no such thing as a spirit, right? So it was one of the dumbest things I ever took in school was philosophy of mind. It introduced me to ideas that I could learn in like a few minutes, but it's like this thick book of reading you have to do to learn a bunch of verbiage, a bunch of language that doesn't matter, because it's all just some guy sitting around going, what if this? And then you hear all the classic, but did you know that science came from philosophy? You hear all that stupid crap to try and sell the usefulness of philosophy. It's not useful. Anyways, let's try the next one. Number 8, studio arts / fine arts. All right, we already mentioned that. Basically, that's like painting and sculpting, or maybe dancing. I don't know. It's a weird thing to go to school for, and it's like going to school for being a rock star. Number 9 is performing arts. Number 10 is anthropology and archaeology, and that's all of them. All right, so I'm not going to go into detail on the last ones because you guys are getting the message at this point. Man, there's so many useless degrees out there, and imagine how many thousands of students are going to it right now, and they're probably not going to make money. some of them will. Maybe a small percentage of them will actually get a job with that, in that field with that degree. Vast majority of them will be forced to get a different job. And you're going to pay for that degree in the end. And you're going to pay for their fancy car that they had while they were in college. You're going to pay for the bloated cost of going to college, since everyone can pull out 45 or 50 or whatever the number is. Everyone can pull out money to go to college in the United States. So the cost of going to these classes, what do you think happens when everyone has $45,000 burning a hole in their pockets? The demand skyrockets. What happens when the demand skyrockets? The cost skyrockets. So you're paying for the high demand of these products and the low return of investment on products. It's like, what if... Oh, hey, how's it going? Look who's back. Are you going to take over the stream now? Alright guys, quick quips here to talk about, what do you want to, what's the subject you're going to talk about? Quick quips here to talk about the nuclear disaster Chernobyl and the fall of the Soviet Union hereafter. Joe Bob Jeff says, how do you feel about the gun laws? I would say I'm pretty in the middle for them. I'm fairly in the middle. I hear... How would I say? Obviously, I'm not for taking guns away from citizens. I think that that's just a bad idea. It always has been. For example, just before Venezuela had its whole breakdown, they had just taken the guns away from everyone. So essentially what ends up happening is all the drug gangs and the the mafia gangs that rise up when the economy collapses, they all have guns illegally and you get shot and killed. The rate of murder in Venezuela, didn't it like skyrocket to some crazy amount? I think that disarming citizens is not necessarily a good idea, but we do still have... I think that you have a bigger risk of being shot by some crazy, depressed, anxious guy who isn't eating cookies. You have a higher chance of being shot by him right now in America than you do have of being shot by the actual Big Brother police, right? So I think that's a fact. I think that it's an issue for Republicans because they won't admit probably the biggest risk are individuals using guns. And then the Republicans, often what they say is, well, good guys with guns don't shoot anybody. It's like, yeah, we get that. That's the same argument you use with like Muslims and terrorism. The Republicans are like, oh, we don't want Muslims. And they're like, it's inherently flawed religion, right? And essentially, people on the left say, well, actually, it's just the terrorists who are causing the problem. Well, this is the same cherry picking that you have with the gun laws. So with the gun laws, you have the Republicans don't want to admit that the issue is that guns are available, and even people with no history of being bad go off to commit a mass shooting, which is often the case. It's just some young guy, and he's gone crazy for like some reason. I don't know, his girlfriend broke up with him, or he's maybe a political ideologist, an actual terrorist. He obtains the gun legally. And then he performs the mass shooting. So society is left wondering, oh, do we want to get rid of the ability for civilians to have guns so that we don't have to deal with this anymore? And the Republicans don't want this, and the Democrats do want it. And it just seems like there's no easy solution to it. I think that you could just take all the guns away. You honestly could. I don't know. I feel like, especially in America, where the trust for government is very low right now, the ability to do this is near zero. So maybe in America, if the people in America felt like the level of crime was low anyways, and there was great trust in the government, we would be able to go, you know what? It's time to let go of our guns. We can have very few limited firearms and lots of firearm rules. It's like the exact opposite of that. America has an insane amount of debt, which, by the way, is very dangerous for stability. Having a lot of debt is. America has a crazy amount of debt. There's a lot of fighting amongst social classes and races and religions in America. Hold on, let me just put that away. There's a lot of fighting. People are splitting off into identity groups, and none of us trust our politicians at all. I mean, the hate for our government in America is so severe. How are you possibly going to get away with disarming your citizens? So Do I think it would lower deaths to get rid of all the guns? I actually think it would. I think the availability of firearms, that's a logistical argument, the availability of the firearms is a part of the reason that you have so many deaths by firearms. But being reasonable, do I think we could get rid of them? Absolutely not. And when it comes to even increasing the laws on it, the Republicans trust the Democrats so much, or so little, that they would not even allow for common sense gun laws to pass. That's a really sad thing, because some of these gun laws, I think, both teams agree on. For example, if you know somebody who's like posting, oh man, getting ready to shoot everyone, probably we should have a law that says you can report him to the FBI and the FBI can show up at your door and take your guns away. Now, but that essentially, if he hasn't committed the crime, if he hasn't committed the actual crime yet, it almost seems like the government's invading on your freedoms, because you actually have to commit a crime before you get in trouble. That's supposed to be how it works, right? Because you end up in a state where people falsely accuse you and yada yada yada. So it's a complex issue, but I think a lot of people would actually agree with the law like that. If somebody's saying, yeah, I'm going to shoot up a school, you should be able to report them to the FBI and have their guns taken away at the very least. They don't have to go to jail, they just can't have their guns anymore, for a while until we can kind of figure them out. But this will never happen in America because, again, the trust in the government is absolutely zero. The Democrats and the Republicans hate each other. They're trying to win a sort of political war, and we don't even trust each other. That's part of it. Americans don't trust each other anymore. So it's a really toxic environment at this point. It's really sad, actually. All of the disunity is probably causing us to not be able to make choices that are good for us. Jay says, I own multiple guns, but I use them for hunting and target practice with my friends. Exactly. Almost all gun owners are good people. That's the sad part. So when you create a law that says you have to take the guns away, you're basically just taking the guns away from law-abiding citizens. But the law-abiding citizens who understand this, they don't realize that the point is, yes, everyone loses their rights to own guns, but the point is we're looking for the very small, 0.2% who are committing the crimes, and as it turns out, these guys aren't obtaining their guns illegally, they're obtaining them legally. So adding an obstacle for them to have to go through to obtain the firearm is probably going to reduce deaths, because they're gonna resort to using maybe a knife, like what we see in the UK. In the UK, they don't use guns, they use knives. So I think that Republicans like to deny the role that guns play in mass shootings. It's like it plays a very prominent role. You really don't want to give your guns up because you don't trust the government, or you like guns. Which, by the way, I totally understand. One of the things my wife and I might do for fun, we might get into antique gun collecting. They look cool, and I think it would be fun to collect them. Woo, that's one of those moments where it's nice to have a shield, huh? See him try to punch me? Americans' national identity seems to have eroded. Eroded! Oh, save a lot of money each year by hunting. Do you save money from hunting? I don't actually know. I don't know much about, like, eating deer meat. Oh my god, I'm still alive. Alright, he's not after me. Let's go ahead and get this on. The UK is arguably much worse, says Trevin. I don't know if I agree with that. I know that they have a lot of knife attacks in the UK, but when you compare that to America, I live right next to St. Louis. I live in St. Peters, Missouri, and I've lived here my whole life, St. Peter, St. Charles area, so I live right next to St. Louis. And when you look up the most dangerous cities in the world, St. Louis is the 15th most dangerous city in the world. Somebody explain how that happens in a first world country, most notably the first world country with the largest economy in the world. It happens because you can blame any number of reasons, but if you were actually able to get rid of all the guns, if you were to able to Big Brother crack down on all the guns, take them all away 100%, even though you would have less freedoms, you would probably have less. It's kind of like taking everyone's car away. Think of it like that. You want to reduce the number of people who die on the highway? Speaking of which, it's like 40,000 people a year. Did you know that? About 40,000 people die a year driving. So you have a very fair chance of dying on the road. So it's like this. If you take away everyone's car, well, their odds of dying in a car accident actually drops really low. It's pretty hard to die in a car crash at that point because nobody has a car anymore. Of course there's going to be less car deaths. Just logistically, you would expect there to be no one driving. It just can't happen anymore. The tool's been taken away. But now you can't drive anymore. You can't drive anymore. That's the downside to it. So, again, it's just one of those things where you have to give it up if you want to lower the number of murders, but nobody wants to, and I don't blame them, because why would you want to give your gun up to the American government? It's just, it just seems like a bad idea. With the low trust and another issue, the high level of crime in again, St. Louis, 15th most dangerous city in the world. Somebody explain how that happens. And if you live by St. Louis, do you want to live by St. Louis with no gun? You want to wait for the cops to come save you? It's like, probably not. And then the most common argument used by the Republicans, well, bad guys, they get guns anyways. It's sort of true. I think that there's some truth to that. I think that taking the guns away would actually reduce a number of the mass shootings, though. I think there is some truth to that, though. Bad guys will find a way to obtain some sort of very dangerous weapon, whatever the case. It could be like a car, it could be like a bomb. Bad guys, if they really want to hurt you, they'll find a way to hurt you. But there could be cases where they get lazy and they pick knives where they would have picked a gun, and that's the liberal side of the argument, right? They'll be like, well, this guy decided to use a knife rather than a gun, and it saved lives. Yeah, and now all of us are disarmed. It's a very interesting issue. Oh. Driving is essential to the modern lifestyle. Right, and that's what you're going to say. That's a liberal side of the argument. You're going to say guns aren't needed, which is why I talked about the level of criminal activity in St. Louis. So, maybe it's not essential where you live, but there are actual dangerous cities in America, really dangerous cities, and people like to have guns in those cities because they like the idea of feeling protected by the gun and knowing that the criminals know that they might have a gun. See what I'm saying? So if all the criminals know it's kind of like what I was saying with Venezuela. The bad guys in Venezuela, the ones who join the gangs and they join, because of the collapsing economy, which, by the way, America could have a collapsing economy easily. That could happen to America, right? So in a collapsing economy in Venezuela, all the bad guys have guns, of course, and then you just get kidnapped by them and whatever else. You get you get, robbed and kidnapped and all the other bad things. Maybe tortured. Probably some of them do get tortured. I actually know for a fact. Yeah, you get kidnapped and then they decide to cut your head off because they're crazy. It actually happens quite a lot in Latin America, beheadings. The criminals, the mafias, and the gangs and the drug gangs, what they do is they'll cut your head off in a video, in a really gruesome beheading, so that they scare off the other people in their territory. They let everyone know how crazy they are, and they do this to scare the cops, and they do this to scare other drug gangs. So they do really, really, really violent, torturous killings on camera, and then they show it off to everyone to let you know. So, really awful. Are you going to take guns from them? Probably not. You would have to kill them. You couldn't just take the guns away from them. You would have to kill them. Max says, can you read my recent comment and let me know what you think? Says Max. For $100, I'll do that. Let's see. Max says, guns are a huge lobby, and also lots of times when someone goes to commit a mass shooting, there is a law-abiding citizen with a weapon to stop that person, but mainstream news doesn't report that. Excuse me. I know what you're talking about. There have been cases, particularly recently in Texas. Somebody tried to commit a mass shooting in a church, and multiple citizens with guns immediately stood up and shot the guy down. So if this had happened, let's say in a gunless place in California, if the shooter had shown up there, the actual number of people that might have died would be significantly lower. Now, what the Democrats would say is, well, the bad guy only obtained a gun because it's so easy to obtain guns in the first place. So that's what the liberals would say. The Republicans would say, well, the fact that we all have guns scares people out of wanting to do mass shootings. So you see what I'm saying? Tim says, hey, come over and hang out. If the criminals suspect you have a gun, they are more likely to actually kill you, right? If the situation is that bad in any city, that's a whole different problem than gun ownership. Again, so mess is all about actually... See, it's kind of like predicting a market. You don't actually know what the criminal will do. You just make proposals what you think that you predict. It's easy always in hindsight to say what people will do. But let's say you just want to do like a burglary. Let's say you want to steal. And you have to decide whether or not to steal with the gun. Well, if you bring a gun with you, you know that the person, let's say you're in Texas, the person in Texas has a high chance of having a gun too. And so all of a sudden, being a thief in Texas is a much higher risk activity. So maybe you just don't do it. Maybe you go, you know what? It's not worth it. But then maybe if you're crazy, maybe if you're absolutely nuts and you're like, ah, man, I'm suicidal anyways, maybe you do go through with it. Who knows? Or maybe you're just really stupid. So it's hard to actually predict people's behavior. Is why economists, they all have their theories about what will actually happen. They're just theories. It's just a game theory. Nobody really knows what's going to happen with people's behavior. Let's see if we can join a quest. Nobody really knows. Hunter. I need a purple investigation. You guys should post. Ooh, we're at the 2-hour mark. I love it when our conversations actually make the time go by really fast. Most criminals are pussies, so if they know you have a gun, they probably won't go after you. See, so the Republicans would agree with you, JMG, but then the Democrats will be like, actually, it's more likely they'll kill you is what'll happen. See what I'm saying? So it's very hard to actually know exactly what'll come out of the situation until it's already occurred. And once it's occurred, you can then be like, see, I was right. See what I'm saying? Yeah, it's very hard to actually know what everyone's behavior will be in the end. Sophagiva Siege, what?
Ooh, hi.
There we go. Ooh, let's do Bazagoose. I want to do some Bazagoose. So about those things called furries, what do we do with them? Furries? Live and let live. Except for furries, we have to... No, I'm just kidding. I don't mind. See, I think people like to make fun of the furries, and I actually don't actually care. You can be a furry all you want. You know what furries don't do? Furries don't do mass shootings. Easy. Easy answer. Mess says, the statistics from what I know are not in favor of gun ownership when comparing the U.S. with other countries. And, a lot of the times what the Republicans will do is they'll argue that it's a problem with the individual. They will argue that, well, we just have bad people. And let's say they are right. Let's do a hypothetical and say that the Republicans are right. The problem isn't guns. For example, America has had the right to own arms for a long time. Mass shootings are a recent phenomenon, right? Like in the last 100 years, mass shootings have become a phenomenon. What changed? Maybe it's just people have changed. Maybe people are like, I'm a nihilist. I want to be famous on the news. I want to be famous on Facebook. I'm going to be a famous shooter. I'll show them. I'll shoot at my school. Everyone's scared of that. You see what I'm saying? So, and there's a lot of, you could make a very fair case that there's a lot of disunity or whatever the word would be, a lot of division in America. People hate each other, right? Really hate each other. There was like some black guys who attacked Jews in New York not too long ago. Like, what? They just show up, start stabbing people. Really sad. Wellick says, I work with criminals, so if you're an easy target, they choose you. They don't waste time on people who fight back unless it's gang-related. See, I have to agree with Wellick. That would be my reasoning, too. If I was a criminal, I would be looking for an easy target, not a hard target, something that I could do safely and get away with. Mary says, I'm proud of my anti-furries. What? My fellow anti-furries? Media has changed. People die every day in prison to guns. Taking guns away don't fix anything. Every day in prison. What? I'm gonna take your bow guns away, and then you'll be forced to use melee weapons. What do you think of that? Oh, he's going to the next area. Gameconomist, do you think that bow guns should be legal? Grab the stone. It's my career, so I can say that with experience. Nice. Yeah, but I'm a professional journalist. And we have to defeat the patriarchy. But yeah, so I would say to answer the original question, I would say I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm open to new gun laws, but I'm not open to taking everyone's guns away. I think that's... the problem with gun laws is I think a lot of them lead to the realization that you kind of have to take all the guns away. That's like socialism becoming communism, right? So it's the same way with gun laws. I think that we could have moderation on them, we could have regulation, we could have new laws, but I think in the end, the left won't be satisfied until all the guns are basically taken away. I think that's ultimately what they will want. You'll take them away. You'll take away, you'll have the new laws, and then they'll be like, you know what, this isn't enough. We still have shootings. So we need to limit the guns even more. We need to take all handguns away. Ooh, what's happening here? Oh, God. Where did he send him? Oh, you basically saved him. All you had to do was grab Brute Tigrex or the bird and throw them into each other. You didn't have to look for a wall. Brute Tigrex was right there. Oops. Come on, come on, come on. Yeah! Oh, only one part of it hit. I thought he would turn around in time. Now we got Urgon. Poopy gone. Oop. What actually knocked him down there? Oh, he's been KO'd. Oh, you gotta be kidding me, man. God. So we can throw Bazilgues or Urgon into each other. Or we can just poopy him. That's fine. There's a lot of damage to miss out on, guys. You son of a gun lance. According to statistics, more people are killed by knives, hammers, and even feet than rifles since 2008. Yeah, so, that doesn't... It's a fallacy, basically. You're saying because of this other issue, we have to ignore the main issue, the issue that we're talking about, right? So that's a logical fallacy. But I hear you, too, because one of the issues I wish politicians would talk more about is the number of people who die in car crashes. I think the vast majority of car crashes are preventable, and every year, about 40,000 people die on the road. You actually have a very good chance of being in a serious car accident that changes your life, like maims you, injures you significantly. You could just have brain damage from a car accident. You don't have to die from it, but then also you could be part of that statistic of the people who actually do die from the accidents. And we do not talk about this at all, and it's really sad that we don't talk about it because it's a really important issue. To me, it's a really important issue. For example, I would love it if all cars came by default with cameras that kept an eye on whose fault was during an accident, who caused the accident. I would like cameras to be there because I think having the cameras in your vehicle will make you more conscious of the choices you're making when you drive, because everyone's going to know it's you when the accident occurs, right? So I think putting cameras in everyone's car by default, just making a law on that would be good. Also, when an accident occurs, the insurance companies will be able to make a decision right away at who's at fault. It should just be something that's built into everyone's vehicle. Another thing is there should be safety codes passed on the cars that are more strict than our current safety codes. People spend a lot of money on their cars to look good. I want people to spend a lot of money on their cars to be safe, so that just the number of people dying on the road is much lower because of the design of the vehicle rather than the appearance of the vehicle, which is really not important. How good your car looks does not matter as much as whether or not you're safe in that vehicle. That's the most important thing about your vehicle. So we focus a lot on how good we look in our cars. We do not focus on how safe we are in our cars, and I think we do that, and then we have horrible data like 40,000 people dead on the road. That should just never happen in 2020. We're supposed to be smarter than that. And then stricter driving laws as well. Like if you get caught texting and driving, you do that twice in a row, we take your license away. And people will have to think a lot more carefully about whether or not they text and drive. Do it twice, your license gets taken away. It should be treated as a DUI, really. A DUI is when you're drunken while under the influence, right? So when you text and drive, it is not a lot different than driving while drunk. Why can't I find this guy? It is not a lot different than driving while drunk. And so I would like the rules on texting and driving to be extremely severe. You don't have to charge them money. So sometimes, depending on how a government puts together like punishments for breaking a law, if you like speed, they'll charge you money. They'll give you a ticket for money. I want the actual rule for texting and driving to be much more severe, but not financially. If you're caught texting and driving twice by a cop and he'll take a picture of you while driving, if you get caught, I want your license to be taken away for, 6 months. Something very expensive for you in a different way. You don't have the same freedoms, because driving's a privilege, it's not a right. And yeah, so it should be treated very similar to a DUI in my opinion. And we don't talk about this. We're so busy talking about taking away everyone's guns, which is also an issue. Again, it's a logical fallacy to say that the guns are not an issue. That's a logical fallacy. It says you can't talk about both issues fairly. But I'm really frustrated that the conversation about car crashes, basically it doesn't exist. We just accept that 40,000 people die every year on the road. Like even when a plane falls out of the sky, and we're just like shocked, you know what I mean? It is on every news channel when a plane falls out of the sky. So why aren't we just blowing our 40,000 people? How many people died in the 9/11 trade attacks? And I'm not diminishing how sad that was. It was a tragedy. It was horrifying. The 9/11 attacks, right? Bush did it, right? That's what people talk about. But the number of people that died in that tragedy, including the firefighters that die later from cancer and everything else, is absolutely crazy, right? That was like 3,000 to 4,000 people, though, right? I'm not diminishing it. What I'm saying is, think about the actual scale that we're talking here. 40,000 people on the road die. You have an actual good chance of having your life changed on the road from a bad driver, somebody who was texting on the highway. You actually have a fairly good chance of your whole life being turned upside down and destroyed by that, or just lost entirely. You just die from it. A deadly car accident. You know, we get bad weather, and then inevitably, when bad weather it passes, you hear about the 5 people that are dead now, right? From whatever, you couldn't drive in the weather because you went faster than you should or something. Who knows? So you hear about this. We just don't do anything about it. There should be actual laws that are really strict about how safe a car should be. You should be driving a safety box. Who cares if your car looks good? Your car should be a safety box. There should be no way for you to die in it. We're talking about a human life. But instead, we're like focused on the guns only. It's really disappointing for me. Because the guns are more like, they're more political. It's more divisive. The guns are about freedom is what they are. But if you want to talk about actually saving human lives, there are so many lives we could save right now with better gun laws. I'm sorry, not the gun laws, the driving laws. We can talk about the gun laws. Like I said, I'm open-minded to changing the gun laws, but the actual driving laws should be very severe. Again, you get caught driving twice while texting. That should be instant loss of your driver's license. It's the same as driving drunk. You're not even looking at the road. You're looking at your stupid phone. How are you not in a car accident if you're not even looking? Like, you might as well put a blindfold on. Every time you pick up your phone to text, you're putting a blindfold on. That's crazy. It's so crazy. And we do it because we're addicted to our phones, obviously. We do it because we're addicted. But that's not acceptable. People addicted to alcohol don't get a free ride, right? If you're addicted to alcohol and you make a stupid choice with the alcohol, you get a ton of trouble for a DUI. They take away your license. They give you like a $3,000 fine. It's a huge fine, right? The DUI. So it's really tough when you get a DUI. Texting and driving should be in the same exact category as a DUI. Same category. Same mistake. 7-Eleven did 9/11. What? Existential chat. Clearly GE isn't a car person. No, I'm not a car person. I never have been. I have 2 brothers who are. My dad was. You know, they were all into collecting cool looking cars. And look, you can have collectible cars, but at the very top of your priorities should be the safety of the car. So I say, why can't you have both? You could have a collectible car, and the car can meet safety requirements that say if you and your wife and your 3 children are driving and you get in an accident because you have icy weather, which, by the way, we know about icy weather because it occurs literally every fucking year. You have icy weather. Okay, so it's all of human history, icy weather is. So there's no like surprise to it. So if you're being allowed to design a car that will definitely kill you in icy weather, then we're stupid. We just haven't designed our laws right. How is this even allowed? And it's allowed because people don't think about it. Basically, you don't think about it very hard. And all we talk about in the news is like, oh, gun control, right? That's all we talk about in the news. It's really sad. It's because gun control is more divisive, and again, it's about freedom and it's about politics. But 40,000 people dead on the road in 1 year is a bigger loss of life than the World Trade Towers, and we don't even talk about it, right? We don't even talk about it. I don't even want to know what it is in other countries. It's probably really bad in some countries where the driving is a lot crazier. America already is known for having a lot of rules for the driving, but they should be so much stricter. Nobody cares about you, just a troll. What? WYM, I never get ice. Shake my head in the shake my heading. What? Yeah, automated vehicles will help a lot, I think. Right, so there was this quote when I was learning about self-driving vehicles, autonomous vehicles, and it was a quote that really stuck with me. Right, it was a guy, I can't remember, he was like an Amazon guy, or he was a Google guy, or all these companies are trying to make the self-driving cars, right? So he was one of those guys. He was like a chief engineer or something like that, and he comes forward and he says, well, our work is we're getting rid of the most dangerous part of every vehicle. And he goes, the human is the most dangerous part of every vehicle, and we're going to fix that. So that is the whole point of the automated cars. I can't wait for it to happen. It could be another 3 to 5 years before they really start rolling out self-automated cars that a regular consumer might buy and are allowed on all the roads, right, without you actually being in the driver's seat. It could be a little while before we get that. So in the meantime, we just need to have strict standards for how you drive. Can you get away with driving and texting? Because, you know, even when the self-driving cars come out, for a long time, people are going to continue to drive self-driving cars. And even maybe like 20 years after the self-driving cars come out, people will continue to drive cars that you manually drive. That's what I meant to say. Yeah, manual driving cars. So people will continue to do that. So we still need to make the rules. We need to make it, here are the safety standards for the car. You're not allowed to make the car until it's capable of withstanding being in an accident in the ice. Simple. We've known about the ice for so long. It's not new. We've always known about the ice. No more gambling on it. It has to be able to survive an ice, an accident in the ice. It has to, or you can't make it. And you can still make it look good, but it has to be safe enough to be in the ice. And this, again, the second one, texting and driving, you lose your license. It's not a money thing. It's, oh, the government's trying to take my money because I'm texting. No, you text and drive, it's the same as DUI. You lose your license. So maybe you get away with it twice because they're like, all right, this is your first warning. Do it again, you lose your license, right? So 2 times you lose your license. That's what I would do if I was in charge of all that. And then you know what would happen? That number, that 40,000 dead people number, that's 40,000 people dead. That doesn't include all the injuries, right? So there's all the injured people who lost a leg, or they became permanently paralyzed, or they have permanent brain damage, or any of those things, right? So they're safer, and that 40,000 number, maybe it cuts in half to 20,000. Is that worth it? Of course it's worth it. 20,000 people, it's unimaginable. Just letting those people die on the road because of, we can't come up with a few laws to fix our, yeah, so stupid. Where's Obama, says Mary. In Iran. Why is Obama? Diamond says, those automatic cars would depend on the user and car's ability to keep the sensors clean in any storm. Yeah, obviously the self-driving cars could have flaws as well, but I'm very confident that the self-driving cars will do a better job than humans. Because computers, by the way, they're a lot better than humans at doing jobs like that. You know what I mean? I think if everyone owned a self-driving car, would there still be accidents? Maybe there would be. But would there be less than 40,000 dead people a year? Probably. Probably by a lot, actually.
500 people watching. Can you all like the video?
Whoa, how's it going, Drift? That's right, like the video, damn it. Or I'll send you to the ranch. Anyways, if you guys are in a car, because most of you probably drive, a lot of you probably drive, just don't text and drive. Because if you're dead tomorrow, how are you going to give me a donation? See, you're a fan of mine. If you're here watching, then you must enjoy my videos. So everyone watching my videos, you guys aren't allowed to die in car accidents. You're not allowed to. So be sure you drive with your eyes on the road. No texting and driving. Not allowed. Not in my dictatorship or whatever. Pink Raytheon. There's definitely going to be friction with the people. President Conomist, why don't you become our president? Sorry, I just liked the video because he used Sword and Shield for 3 hunts. Firefree says, listen, my self-driving car will be programmed to drive like a human, and all I did was cause accidents with extra steps. Who love classic cars? Already like, shake my head. Shake my head might shake. Honestly, just freaking disable cell phone service in cars, LMAO. Peachy, I'm on the same exact conclusion as you. So the whole taking licenses away, the funny thing is, I actually think some people will be so addicted to their phone, they'll do it, and then their license will be taken away, and some people will actually have their lives messed up by it. So if the government passed a rule that says all apps are disabled except for maybe like apps that help you get to your location, and all calling is disabled except for calling emergency numbers, and definitely all texting is disabled, I would be 100% down with that. 100% down with that. If that is like a cell phone jammer in every car, 100% down with that. That would be A-okay for me. Sounds great, actually. What do you... Oh, man, I can't text my friend while I drive him 70 miles an hour down the highway anymore. Wah, you know what I mean? It's like perfectly okay with it. So Fan says, I'm just here to count days until my new laptop. Oh, you're getting a new laptop. God Terror Boy says, to stop yourself from texting and driving, drink alcohol. That's right. If you text and drive, then GE will show up at your house. Maybe I will. Some folks don't like regulation and are willing to allow unsafe cars for the sake of the free market. Yeah, well, you know, you don't want to... When it comes to regulation, your regulation, I think, has to make your country more prosperous. So this is often the argument for regulation. So people will be like, oh, I just don't want the government to tell me how to live my life. But if the government is telling you how to live your life in a way that actually is really important, like, for example, you're not allowed to kill people, you would call that regulation on your freedom to kill others. So similarly, when you're driving a car, if drinking and driving statistically increases the chance that you get in a car wreck and kill someone by enough, then we're looking at you going, sorry, you don't have the freedom to drink and drive anymore. It's too dangerous. Similarly, I think we should have done that a long time ago with the cell phones. I think it's one of those issues like marijuana, right? So it's taking forever to make marijuana legal, just like it's taking forever to make driving and texting illegal, which I think it is illegal in some places. I don't know if it's illegal where I live. I don't think it is. I think it's actually still legal where I live. Some places have probably made texting and driving completely illegal. Tim F. Bruce says, I listen to your butt while I drive. Cheese says, don't jerk and drive. That's right. Peachy says, passengers can talk to the driver. That's right. Tim L. Proc says, it's crazy how far in technology, but still struggling with these simple things. Raymond Roadhouse says, if I had an expensive fancy car, I wouldn't risk damaging it for a text. You would think that. You would think that people will go, oh man, my human body is worth millions of dollars, and a stupid text is not worth being in a car crash because I'm going to damage my irreplaceable, priceless body, something that you just don't get. It is you. Your body is you. I'm not going to put that at risk just for a text. LOL, I'll be home in 5 minutes, right? I'm not going to risk that. Some people make that decision, but plenty of people don't. They're just dumb. I don't know what to say about it. So the idea of like a cell phone jammer, again, I'm okay with that. I would vote for a cell phone jammer right now. What about passengers, says Fayed. Be bored. I don't care. You're bored now. I don't care. 40,000 people dead every year on the roads. Oh man, I don't want to be a bored passenger. Oh, well, don't drive then. Easy. Maybe there's some sort of technological solution for that as well. But whatever the case is, the driver can't be allowed to text. Under zero circumstances, it should be considered criminal to text and drive. Because it is. It is not different from being drunk and driving, in my opinion. It is, again, if you take your eyes off of the road, oh, I can see what's going on in my peripheral. No. If you put a blindfold on where you can see the peripheral of the road, you shouldn't be allowed to drive. Simple. Nobody's going to disagree with that. Everyone just kind of nods and goes, yeah, that's probably right. And then they get back to texting and driving. It's like, why are you so crazy? Well, we do a lot of crazy things, don't we? Cell phone jammer doesn't stop watching pre-downloaded content. That's right. You better be pre-downloading my content so you can watch it on your cell phone on your drive to work. You know, it's funny, with 500 people watching, there's probably somebody who's on their phone right now in a car. You don't replace the pee-pee, that thing gone. Who the hell watches videos while driving? Probably a lot of people. Probably there are people who play video games while driving. Think about that for a second. All humans should be replaced with machines. That's right, Arson has it figured out. I am down for the rule. Did you know that cell phone jammers are actually illegal in the United States? Oh, interesting. Well, yeah, I can see why. Because somebody shouldn't be able to affect your cell phone from your own, your car. But I can see that. I think also it might be more dangerous because people will be like, huh, why is my cell phone not working? So they'll be looking at the cell phone trying to get it to work because they don't understand that there's a cell phone jammer in play. Maybe if it sent like a message, sorry, your phone being jammed by nearby vehicle. Alright, let's stabby this guy in the head. 40,000 people, guys. Just keep that in mind. 40,000. 40,000. It's just incredible how many people that is. There should be like a national service for it every year. 40,000. Remember, 9/11 tower attacks. 4,000 people. Every year, 40,000 dead on the road. But it's not. It doesn't make the news because it's just kind of everyone's just normalized to it. It's not normal. It's crazy. Cell phone jammers equals more kidnapping, says Diamond Duck. That's right. Now kidnapping will be very easy. My Tesla's on autopilot, so I can watch, says Catalyst. Oh my god. Well, and again, you know, the self-driving cars will be really cool, and when the self-driving cars are out, I'm totally for people having, like, their cell phones in their cars. Totally for that. But if you're actually driving your car and texting, it's got to be treated like a DUI, because it's essentially just a DUI. It's essentially you driving while under the influence. And, I don't think anyone necessarily disagrees with that. It's just a matter of how do you stop it. Oh! I kind of misaimed that. Oh, he's been thrown into a wall. You know, I've been probably playing like crap this whole time. I wonder if I got any good decorations. Buttercube says, fun fact, in Texas, the use of red light cameras was deemed unconstitutional. Ah, that happened where I live too. So we had the red cam at the stoplights, and I actually got in trouble for it one time, and then they got rid of it. So yeah, and the funny thing is, when they caught me breaking the law. I ran a red light. So the fact that they took it away, I was like, well, it was working. It was interesting. I was like, it was working. Did more packs come? So, I should have gotten Hidden Fates. Tell you guys what, we're at the 2.5 hour mark. Let's go ahead and head back. I'm going to go check for some mail. I'll see if the mail showed up, alright? I'll be right back, guys. Here I am. Wow, I got a ton of mail. I have no idea what's in it. I'm actually really excited to find out what we have. Alright, we'll just pick those up. Conomist. We'll have to do another Conomist stream, and we'll actually do we'll do free therapy for everyone. My dad always used to complain about speed cameras. I was always just like, don't drive too fast. I know, right? People get great cars from Cosmic Eclipse. With the first wave of self-driving cars are going to be level 4, this means that the driver still needs to be fully present. Imagine dying when watching Prawn on the road with the raging boner. Hidden Fates are poo-poo. Yeah, the Hidden Fates, I think, to be honest with you, I think they might be a little overvalued right now. They look very good, but the fact that they were reprinted really lowered their value. So everyone who was excited for Hidden Fates at the beginning probably understands now that they're not as valuable as they used to be. Okay, let's see. Holy Knight says, I upgraded my CPU from 160 to 3700X at 4.2 gigahertz and got 0 FPS improvement. God bless this optimist. Calamafragger says, check yo decorations. I'll probably do that. There's 2 decorations in particular I really want. The Resentment decoration and the Challenger decoration. Let's see if we got it, guys. Alright. Wait. Here we go. Alright, so let's check. I still only have one. Yeah, I still only have one of each, sadly. All right. So these are the decorations I really want. Is resentment and agitator. They're a big deal. And everyone should want these decorations. Oh, I should. Okay, I'm writing down. I need to make a decorations guide. Like, not a how do I get more decorations, but an actual guide on the best decorations. So I keep forgetting to make that. That's a really important one. The game's been out for a while, so I'm capable of actually making a good case for the decorations at this point. I need mental help for not getting my third crit jewel. You said you need a video showcasing optimal savage axe, so I'll just send you one. Sounds good. Deccan says, men, how people get those critical vitality jewels or attack jewels? Oh, sounds like the mailman's out there again. Is he dropping off more boxes for me? Oh my god. Alright guys, well I tell you what, we're at the 2.5 hour mark. I'm going to go ahead and start my other stream. As you guys know, I have 2 YouTube channels. One where I play Monster Hunter, another one where I open up Pokemon cards and people are able to purchase the cards live and have them opened and then shipped off to them. So we're going to be doing that next. I have a ton of mail to open for that channel, so it's going to be an exciting episode. In the meantime, we're going to leave this one running. I'm going to mute my mic. I'm going to set up the other live stream. I'll come back and then I'll leave a link to the other live stream in the chat. So I'll be right back, guys. And here we are. How's it going, everyone? So, I've set up the other live stream. Let me give you the wave. Gesture wave. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and turn my music off, too. I got my music running still. Thank you, everyone who made donations. Thank you very much, Drift GTR. He's one of the biggest donators to this YouTube channel. That was very kind of you. Soiled, I do have some cards available if you're looking to make a purchase. I'm going to go ahead and get the link to the other stream now, the card stream. You know, we've been breaking over 100 viewers on that other stream. It's really impressive. Because we only have like 2,000 people subscribed to it. But you know, I think that the people who are subscribed really like the content. Jump over here. We're 50 subscribers away on the second channel to reach 2,000 subscribers. That's what's going on. Come on now. Oh my god. My computer's being really slow. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and type in the link. Actually, here, let me go back to my main channel. Running two YouTube channels is very exhausting, by the way. Oh, come on, man. I just signed into the wrong... I just signed into the wrong YouTube channel. God damn it. There we go. Alright, close that. Alright, and here is the link. Perfect. And I'll go ahead and update Discord real fast. So we have this Discord here. Oh, wait a second. We want to put it in the right. Dr. Conomist. We're going to have to do another Dr. Conomist stream. That was pretty fun, actually. Dr. Conomist. Except we should do a Dr. Conomist where we actually talk about, like, problems. That would be pretty funny. Put it here. Alright. Alright, all the links are out. Fan did send me a video. Wow, 2 minutes and 54 seconds on Glavinus. That's cool. HCZZ. I'll take a look at that fan in the near future. Alright, so this is where I say goodbye to everyone. I want to thank you all for watching. We'll have another Monster Hunter live stream maybe late night or probably tomorrow for sure. I like to do a live stream every day. There's still nothing to do until the 23rd, so but we'll keep talking together and we'll keep playing, maybe farming up decorations. I think that would be fun. Alright, see you guys on the other stream.